No, dude, when Goku threw off the shirt, I fainted. I was like, oh my god, Toriyama, you made this man happy.
Hello, people of the internet. Boy, I haven't said that in quite a while. It is I, Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir, here with a brand new video where a friend of mine and I just sit here just to shoot the shit and talk about the most recent Dragon Ball project that had finished a week ago as of this recording. That is the 20 episode series Dragon Ball Daima, the reported final project that Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama ever worked on before his unfortunate passing. So joining me this time around, it is my good buddy Gingiboi, aka Cole, aka Titan Goji's editor, aka Godzilla Gamer 77. How you doing, buddy?
Well, first off, Titan Goji's editor. No, you mean Titan Goji's slave. And second of all, friend. Hold on. What do you mean? You literally dragged me in here and went, I need someone else to talk Dragon Ball with. So, like, this is kind of on you, all right? I was forced to do this, and I'm not getting paid.
I'm not gonna bother my roommates for like the billionth time just to talk about Dragon Ball. Okay, we spent 20 weeks worth of our patience and due diligence watching through the series. I'm not gonna sit them in front of a microphone just to record this. I had to get someone else, and you had nothing going on, so I had to settle for you. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm always second.
If this was the tournament of power, you would be the Frieza who had to come in because Boo was out of commission. All right.
Oh, thank God. Does that mean Davis is Krillin or something, so he can be the first one out?
Let's hope so. It's like, hey Andres, Hey Andres, I was preparing for a new challenge. I can't wait to show off my new techniques, and it gets kicked out within the first like 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's Davis for you.
So anyways, before we get started, I want to just briefly go over our personal histories with the Dragon Ball franchise itself, especially given that the only time I've really talked about Dragon Ball on YouTube was through my review back in the day when I did Dragon Ball Superhero with my friend Pete, and over on Super DM64's channel back in the day when he would review every single Dragon Ball movie ever made. So since you are the guest for this video, let's start with you. Let's go start from the beginning. How were you introduced to Dragon Ball, and what has been your personal feelings on every installment in the franchise up till now?
Oh God, I'm gonna sound like such a Gen Z guy for this, but okay, here we go. So I
heard that Dragon Ball was a ripoff of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh
so I
God, okay, not that new. But by the way, JJK is mid as fuck, so we're just gonna get that out of the way now. Anyway,
I've never watched it,
bro. It was so mid, I stopped reading the manga. That's how mid it fucking was. All right. Anyway, the first time I ever saw Dragon Ball in general was back in the day. They used to play Dragon Ball on Nicktoons, which was like a sub channel for Nickelodeon.
I remember that. Yeah.
For people who don't know, it was basically like, if you know Boomerang from Cartoon Network, it was the same kind of thing, really. And back in the day, they would play Dragon Ball Z Kai and GT on Nicktoons, and that is.
Wait. Is that where Blue Popo came from?
No, that was from, I think, the CW version of Z Kai.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was that. But I mean, there was still censorship, but like it was less extreme, because I think it was actually like a different rating. I could have been wrong though. But they played Z Kai, and they also played GT, and they also played the movies, and that was like my first ever exposure to Dragon Ball. And I mean, I was literally there when like they were airing like the GT finales and all that. Like that was pretty exciting for my like 10-year-old brain, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not even kidding. Like Super Saiyan 4 Goku was like ingrained in my mind for a long time. I was like, dude. And then after that, I collected, unfortunately, I started collecting the series physically, and since I didn't know any better, it was with the Blu-rays that were for
The orange
Z.
bricks?
Yeah, no, it
Oh,
was
the
the
Blu-rays,
Blu-rays.
okay.
Yes, I got the Blu-rays, and for
Ah.
people who know, you know, they're not good. So got that. Then I got GT and OG, and then I binged all of Z in full, and I still have never returned to Z Kai ever since. But maybe one day I'll come back around to it. But I watched all of Z. Love Z. We'll say that now. Z is like goated, and anyone who doesn't like it is a beta cuck. So you know, there's that. But I mean, everything about Z and OG, I'm gonna lump both together because also I read the manga as well, and now I kind of lump all of it under one thing now, just because that was how the manga was. Because I'm kind of a manga crazy person. But I from OG Dragon Ball to Z, I think is like great. There's barely any arcs I really dislike. Even the weaker arcs, like Boo, for example, are like there's still a lot of like really cool things. I love the characters. The fights are like fantastic. Very memorable memorable villains, like, you know, Frieza, Cell, Piccolo when he was still a villain, and even like the Red Ribbon Army and stuff. I like love characters like, or Tao Pai Pai, my goat, fucking can fly on like a pillar. Like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Can kill a dude with his tongue alone.
Yeah, but there's just kind of a unique like magic to the original series that is like really hard to grasp. I feel like for me, there's like, even though Dragon Ball as a narrative has its problems, I know it does, but like there's like this unique magic with Dragon Ball that I don't think can be found in a lot of other series for me. I think it does boil down to like its art style, it's like its writing, it's comedic timing, it's the way like Toriyama was able to capture a fight scene. I think is unrivaled in like any series to this day.
Yeah.
Like
side note, like, what was it, 2 years ago, I was reading the manga for the first time from beginning to end, all 500 and something chapters, and right immediately afterwards I made the mistake of reading Saint Seiya. And not to say that Saint Seiya is a bad story, it's not, but it's like the fights in Saint Seiya are like the same 5 poses repeated again and again and again. Meanwhile, when it comes to Toriyama's work, no 2 fights are ever the same.
Exactly. It's like there's very few manga I would put that are like close to capturing the feeling of motion Dragon Ball can give. Like the only ones I can think of off the top of my head are like Berserk, or if we want a more newer example, Sakamoto Days has insanely good action. I feel like more people need to shout out that series because the feeling of motion in that series too is almost Toriyama level good. I don't even know how they do it, but if you can do that, to me, I'm impressed. Like I said, despite Dragon Ball's shortcomings with its narrative sometimes, I can give it a pass because I feel like it's also like bias for my fandom, I guess. But like if you told me, like gun to my head, which had a better story, One Piece or Dragon Ball, I would probably say One Piece. But if I had to say which series I was more of a diehard fan for, I would say Dragon Ball. As much as I love One Piece, Dragon Ball has a special thing in my heart, and that's probably just because I grew up with it. But it's very special to me, and I feel like when we start talking about Daima, it kind of brought back a lot of those feelings again. And speaking of watching other series, when Super came out, it was like right when I finished watching Z and GT, I thought like, oh, I'm done now. But then it was like, wait, what do you mean? There's like 2 movies and a new series that's at the same time? I was like, what? Because it was on Crunchyroll at the time, and I literally and I had a Crunchyroll account because I started watching Crunchyroll because of Ultraman, but then I was like, oh wait, Dragon Ball Super's on here? All right, cool. I have another reason to keep it. So I think when I started watching Super when it was airing, it was when the tournament like just started, Tournament of Power. I remember that. It was like right when that tournament started. So I binged all of the Super episodes up until that point, and then I caught up, and then I'm so happy I got to witness Ultra Instinct live, because I remember trying to boot up those episodes on Crunchyroll because the website was like down, and I kept refreshing and refreshing and refreshing, and eventually I got it to work after like 30 minutes of troubleshooting. Those are memories I will never be able to recapture because my excitement was through the roof for that. And Super, despite a lot of its problems, I still enjoy it kind of in its own way. I prefer Super compared to something like GT, which is like, no, that's all you really need to know. GT just ain't really my thing. It's very boring. GT just has a lot of great ideas. It just fumbles the ball on like every single one. But except Super Saiyan 4, that stuff's pretty cool. But a lot of the arcs in GT just kind of, it's so sauceless. I think that's the best way I can describe it. It's sauceless. It's like it has a cool thing, but like the fights themselves are very boring. And a lot of it's just Goku centric, which, you know, I like Goku as a character, I really do. But what makes Dragon Ball cool to me is that when other characters do get to do something, it's usually like some of the coolest stuff in the story. Like one of the biggest examples I can think of is when like Piccolo fuses with Kami, and then he fights like first form Cell. Like, dude, I was on the floor because I was like, oh my gosh, like Piccolo's one of my favorite characters, and he got a new like boost. And so like if it kept the fights being fresh, and GT didn't have that, and Super almost has that, but it also elevates the fact that, you know, Vegeta's there, and some characters get some spotlight, like, you know, Future Trunks or like Gohan in the last arc. Like, you know, there's some more variety, but Super does suffer a lot from its narrative. And despite all the cool moments, it does struggle with that. And I'm not going to harp on like the animation for Super, because Super was so unfortunate with its production, because my God, how they thought to give that show like 2 to 4 months of pre-production. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but no wonder that show looked so bad when it first started, because those poor animators had no time to do anything. So
and then Toei had the balls to just be like, oh, sorry guys, we just got a whole brand new team of inexperienced animators,
which was not true.
No, yeah, you pretty much got the heavy hitters from the Dragon Ball Z days, who were in charge of all this, who were just like struggling to meet deadlines.
Bro, the animation supervisor, like Naoki Tate, he was literally one of the best animators on the original series, had a ton of experience after that, and he's a great animator. And then he only had like a few weeks to do that entire episode. Like, yeah, no wonder it looked so rough. And that was a lot of Super. But Super did get better. It really did. Like animation wise, like it had some really good episodes. It was just like there were some real stinkers every now and then. But regardless, I have a lot of nostalgia for Super. I don't think that's kind of why I give Super a pass in certain regards, because I do have that nostalgia for it, even though I know Super has its shortcomings. And also there are some other arcs, like I'm one of the few people who really enjoyed the Universe 6 arc. I don't know if anyone else really does, but I really like that arc. It's really fun.
Oh yeah. With Hit, I know Hit is a fan favorite.
Yeah, Universe 6 is my favorite arc in the show. If it comes to the manga though, that's a toss up, I'll be real, because one of the you know, the 5% who have actually read the manga after the show ended. And I'm really glad I did, because the manga has some really cool stuff. The Moro and Granola arc are pretty cool. They have their problems, but I really enjoy them. Moro's like one of my new favorite villains in Dragon Ball. Very cool villain. Highly recommend. And better than Jiren. I can say that.
I mean, Jiren's a pretty low bar to begin with.
Yes. But, you know, in terms of villains, he's up there. Same with, like, the few villains Super has, I have to say, are pretty good. Like, like Goku Black and Zamasu, great combo. Moro, very good villain. The Granola arc, you know, it's not great. Like, the villain's fine, I guess, but what makes that arc work is for different reasons. But Super has its moments, but also like the new stuff like Super Broly and Superhero. Super Broly's great. I really like that one. Animation is superb. Best animated Dragon Ball thing I've ever seen in my life, probably. And Superhero, I think, is my second favorite Dragon Ball movie now. It's only topped by Fusion Reborn, but I absolutely love that movie. I was floored. It was exactly what I wanted from a Dragon Ball story for so long, to have like Piccolo and Gohan be like some of the main characters. Was so great, especially Piccolo, because he's my favorite character. So I'm glad he got to do a lot. Sure. And modern Dragon Ball is kind of an up and down thing for me sometimes, but like when it hits, and then it takes me right back to when I'm like a 10-year-old again. So, you know, like, I don't know, Dragon Ball, when it works, it really works. So yeah, I love this series a lot. It's still the anime series I think I have the most nostalgia for, like a lot of people. And despite its shortcomings, I will always be a diehard fan. I will be there for any new product, no matter how terrible it is. I will be there. I even watched the Super Dragon Ball Heroes anime. That is how deprived I am of this stuff. I watched it with its warts and all. I did. So
Dragon Ball fanfic, the series.
Oh my gosh, that show is awful, but I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of entertaining. It's very entertaining. Like, it'll be like, dude, when they introduce stuff like Super Saiyan 3 Rose Black, it's so over. I'm like, what is this? Like,
What is it? They got like super full power, burst limit, Super Saiyan 4,
Yeah.
whatever thingy.
What do they call it, like limit break or something? I don't remember what it is, but he has like that stupid purple aura around him. I'm like, what? This is so dumb.
It was like, oh, golden form cooler. Golden final form cooler. Sure, okay, why not?
No. And then they up it up where they're like
Fuck it.
golden metal cooler, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy.
When did he got time to turn metal? Shut the fuck up and just watch the pretty pictures.
Yeah, it was like one of the only great fights in that show, and I was like, oh, why?
So I guess to go into my whole spiel about Dragon Ball, it's pretty much identical to yours, with the exception of where I started. So I was one of many kids growing up in the late '90s who watched Dragon Ball when it aired on Toonami or on Cartoon Network. Alongside Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Gundam Wing. All the classics from that era. Dragon Ball, absolutely, like Dragon Ball Z blew my mind because it was unlike anything I had ever seen up to that point, except maybe I guess say Power Rangers, but that was live action. And I grew up watching the series from the Saiyan saga all the way to the Buu saga. Watched Dragon Ball GT when it was on the air. Watched a few snippets of Dragon Ball when they aired it in between episodes of like between reruns of Z. Let's see, I played a lot of the video games. Grew up loving Dragon Ball Z, Budokai, and the Tenkaichi Budokai series. Watched a lot of the movies when they aired on Cartoon Network as well. I remember there was a whole spiel about like Bardock, the father of Goku, like witness the story behind the Dragon Ball saga. You got Peter Cullen doing his best narrating for these videos, and growing up online, met a lot of people both in real life and online who love Dragon Ball as well. Of course, during the sort of like era where the dry spell of Dragon Ball, outside of Dragon Ball Z Kai, there was Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which I heavily followed from beginning all the way to its eventual end conclusion.
Oh, I completely forgot to mention DBZ Abridged. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like DBZ Abridged really helped kept the Dragon Ball community alive, at least in the West.
Well, my perspective is different.
Go ahead.
Because I was watching Abridged as I was watching Z. So I'd watch like a bunch of episodes of Z, and then I'd watch the episodes of DBZ Abridged to where I am, and then I'd stop, and then I'd watch more of Z. So I have a very weird perspective with that, because it was like because then I'd get all of the jokes that they were making of the show as I was watching it. So like, it was a very fun experience.
That's gotta be weird.
It was, but it was really fun though.
Yeah, I remember back when I was part of the Sons of Sarazawa podcast, my friends Bill and Dylan absolutely hated Kai and everything that stood for, because in their mind it's like, if it doesn't have the Bruce Faulkner score and it doesn't have the filler episode of Piccolo and Goku driving, it's not Dragon Ball Z to them. It's not their Dragon Ball. And I'd be like, no, but you don't understand. That's not part of the original story. The music was never meant to be that way.
It's
like,
iconic.
Nope,
it's
iconic.
Iconic.
It's what I grew up with. That's the only one that matters to me. So what were you trying to say?
No, it's iconic. It's like as iconic as Super Saiyan for Goku. Like if you get rid of it, it's not Dragon Ball. Like, come on. Like, I think they're cooking.
Oh yeah,
there.
for sure. And then I was lucky enough to have seen Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods in the theater. I remember this was shortly after Son Goku and his friends return. So I was expecting, this is just a glorified reunion special. Little did I know this would usher in the super era of the franchise, which I have enjoyed pretty much. I've enjoyed thoroughly from beginning to end. Of course, it's not as strong as the original Dragon Ball Z. I would say I would like to describe Super as Dragon Ball designed by committee, where you can tell every idea introduced in Super was done at the behest of a producer who whispered a concept into Toriyama's ear saying, hey, Future Trunks is popular, why don't you make a story about him? Hey, people like Evil Goku, make a story about that. Hey, people like Broly, why don't you bring him back? Hey, people like tournaments, why don't you whip up some cliff notes about that? And then, of course, Toriyama will be like, oh, sure, I'll jot down some little notes on this napkin here, and I'll send it to you, and I'll send it to my protege, and you guys have at it while I just collect the paycheck and do whatever it is I like to do.
Yeah.
But still, regardless of its faults, in terms of its the quality of its storytelling or production values, I still enjoyed Super when it came out. I believe this year is the 10th anniversary. I want to say that Super came out in 2015. Let's see.
Oh my gosh, I think
Dragon
you might be
Ball
right.
Super. Dragon Ball Super came out, June 20th. No, the manga started June 20th, 2015. The anime started July 5th, 2015. So yes, this year, again, as of this recording, will mark the 10th anniversary of Super, and that's fucking insane to me.
Oh my gosh, there's no way. This is unreal.
So, 10 years removed from the start of Super, Dragon Ball continues to be strong rather sporadically. You have the Super Dragon Ball Heroes anime promotion that's there simply to promote the card game / arcade series. You got Dragon Ball Broly, which came out in 2018. You had Super Hero in 2022. And now we have this series that came out of the blue, 2 or 3 years ago, to celebrate, I believe it was made to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Dragon Ball. And what we got here, it's so funny how when Daima was first announced, a lot of people were quick to say, oh, this is GT all over again. And a lot of hardcore fans were like, no, it's not GT, it's not GT, this is totally going to be its own thing. And then in a recent interview, Toei came out and said, like, yeah, we pretty much want to make this a tribute to GT. And there's something about that I find really funny.
Yeah. I didn't hate the idea of them turning into kids. I really didn't. I was like, okay, they're doing the GT thing, but I was like, but everyone's a kid now. And I was like, I don't know.
You're a kid, and you get to be a kid, and you get to be a kid.
But like, I literally was like, there's potential with this. I feel like Toriyama's cooking something here. I was like, maybe it's copium. I don't know, but I was like, I think this might be okay.
Oh yeah. I was very much so enthusiastic about it, just because I wanted something new out of Dragon Ball. Whereas with the prior movies and previous Super TV series, it felt like, they were kind of retreading, going back to basics. Again, like Dragon Ball Greatest Hits, essentially. Oh, Frieza's popular, let's bring him back. Trunks, let's bring him back. Broly, let's bring him back. Tournaments, let's bring them back. And here, it felt like a little mix of old and new. I forgot to also mention, because this is relevant, back 2 years ago, I did finally sat down and read the entirety of the Dragon Ball manga, from chapter 1 with Kid Goku and Bulma all the way to the very end, all 500 plus chapters. Incredible experience. And you know what, I used to roll my eyes at the snobbish fans who would be like, oh, the manga is so much better than the anime. And now honestly, I've become one of those people as well.
No, it changes you. It really does. It changes you. You're like, wait, why is this so fast?
Wait, you mean the infamous pacing was not the fault of Toriyama?
No, the same thing can be said about One Piece. One Piece is worse.
Yeah.
I literally beg to people, just read the manga, dude. I'm serious.
No, but it's so long. It's like, who fucking cares? They're like, what, 20 pages a chapter?
Yeah, not even. I know One Piece has gotten real good with its anime. I know it has. I've been watching it. It's unreal what they do with it now. But dude, the pacing is still not good.
No, yeah. From what I understand, most of One Piece fans are manga fans, where they just read the manga and then tune into the TV show just to watch their favorite parts, select favorite parts get animated.
Well, I don't know. One Piece has gotten so big now. I feel like it's about 50-50 now. I feel like if there's a few years ago, for sure, but now that One Piece is so big now, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot different. I only watched the anime when I caught up, just because I was bored and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it weekly. Why not? And so that's a One Piece discussion.
I will say, but I will say when it comes to One Piece and Dragon Ball, I'm almost at the halfway point, right before the time skip for One Piece currently.
Okay.
Because I've been reading the manga on and off after I finished Dragon Ball.
I binged it during COVID. That's how I was able to catch up. I just binged it through COVID.
You see, so So yeah, having read all of Dragon Ball and having read almost half of One Piece, I can definitely tell you the TV shows do not do them justice. And that, yeah, these shows were made at a time when they did not really do seasonal arcs, or did not do seasonal releases like they do nowadays with stuff like My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer or Attack on Titan. But yeah, I do highly recommend watching or reading the manga of these shows, especially because this is like the story in its most purest form, with zero compromises or anything like that. Anyways, I bring up the manga because with Dragon Ball Daima, it felt like a back to basics approach while at the same time doing something new, which is something that I feel like Dragon Ball had been lacking for a while. And when I heard that this show is all about exploring the demon realm, something that was teased in the original manga with Dabura, I was like, oh, okay, we get to explore this side of the dragon world that we never ever got to see before. So I did have high hopes for the show, and making it an adventure series as opposed to just looking for the bad guy and kicking his ass. I thought, okay, we haven't seen this type of story in a long time. It reminds me of those first 25 chapters when Goku, Bulma, Oolong, Yamcha, they're all off looking for the original set of Dragon Balls.
Or, everyone's favorite part of GT.
Oh yeah. I guess in that case, I can see why people may have been hesitant about the quality of this story.
Yeah.
But given that Toriyama was involved in this, again, that was another reason that gave me hope, because I enjoyed pretty much everything that he had direct involvement in, which was basically the 4 movies that we got.
Agreed.
Have all been bangers. Resurrection F, less so.
Yeah, okay.
But for the most part.
Asterisk on that one, but...
Yeah, but for the most part, he 75% of his hands-on work, he still got it.
Yeah.
It still gave me confidence. However, with the news of his passing and the news that apparently they hadn't finished the story by the time they started animating the show, it does make me wonder how much of the story did Toriyama actually finish prior to the production of this show.
They worked on it for this show had almost 2 years of pre-production, I'm pretty sure. Like, this show had a crazy amount of time for it to be made, like unheard of almost for modern anime now, where it had this much pre-production. So
and it definitely shows in the quality.
Yes, because if we're just gonna jump the gun, I genuinely do not think there was a single badly animated episode, which is unreal for 20 episodes. Like, how the show looked this consistently good is crazy to think about.
Like, even my roommate, one of my roommates, would constantly comment. So he's like, dude, I can't believe it still looks this good. Because usually for a show like this, you would have like a really good, spectacular opening, a really spectacular closing, and then kind of like they spread out the budget to where it kind of looks like very average or so in the middle. But no, that doesn't happen at all, I feel. And yeah, so it looks like the show was revealed at New York Comic Con 2023. I think this was late 2023.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wouldn't premiere until October 2024. So we pretty much went about a whole year from 2023 to 2024 for it to eventually finally get released.
Which, by the way, whoever ran that Comic-Con panel, I'm gonna find them, because I was gonna watch the live stream, but the first thing they showed, it just said, like, it showed that stupid title card of like, oh, you can't, like, it's like thanks for watching or something, because they couldn't show the actual stuff. And I could not believe that. I literally got so desperate. I went on Totally Mark's live stream that day, and they were able to get some guy recording off his phone just so I could see the trailer. That's how desperate I was to see this trailer.
Let's see. Okay, yeah. So New York Comic Con, that was October 2023. So from October 2023, we got the news, and then what was it? September 2024, we got the news that it would be airing in October, which we eventually got. And then what was it? There was a weird theatrical release. Oh yeah, I remember the release in America was kind of strange because it was released on like Crunchyroll and Hulu and Netflix, and then the first 3 episodes were dubbed and released theatrically in November, and then they decide to release the dubs once a week, even though we'd already gotten the first 3 dubs episodes ready to go. It was very strange, but I can definitely tell you I was one of those guys who just watched the Japanese version with subtitles week to week as they were coming out.
I'm such a stand for the Japanese now. It's not good.
I used to be one of those guys who used to be like, oh, it's not Dragon Ball without Sean Schimmel and Chris Sabat. And nowadays I'm like, nah, man, Masuko Nozawa all the way.
Yes, sir.
The show has finished. I guess the first thing to ask you is, what are your general thoughts on the show before we get into the nitty-gritty details? Did you like it, essentially, is what I'm asking.
Well, it's not GT good. No, I'm kidding. I loved it. It's
it's no Super Dragon Ball Heroes.
Yeah, it's no Super Dragon Ball Heroes. But I really, really liked it. Like I gave it like a 3.5 star on Letterboxd. I gave it a 7 out of 10 because again, it does kind of more near the last few episodes where the narrative kind of like takes a little bit of a hit for me. But like generally, the first like 2/3 of this show, I genuinely loved the story. Like this is the most fun I've had with modern Dragon Ball next to Superhero. Like I'm dead serious. Like whenever Toriyama writes the characters, like it feels like Dragon Ball to me. Like that sounds like elitist. I know it does, but like Goku in Super is like it's almost like a character, I can't
caricature?
Say the character. Yeah, yes, that word. I can't say
caricature.
Yes, but literally, I can't talk. But he, I don't know. It's always like, oh, I like fighting, and that's kind of his like one attribute. And I don't know. Part of me like, I don't know. Part that bugs me a bit. But whenever Toriyama writes him, it feels like there's more layers to Goku, and I think the fact that Daima like got that right and Goku actually acts like Goku is so great to me. And like a lot of the characters in general are just like top notch. They all like feel like they all like bounce off each other really well. It's just well written. Like the character interactions are like some of the best Toriyama's written in a while. Like it's really on point.
Oh, for sure.
Same with the humor. I was genuinely laughing a lot during this series. Like there were some really, really good jokes. Like are we talking about spoilers now or just no?
Yeah. Like big spoiler warning. We're gonna spoil the shit out of this throughout this review.
Because big spoilers. The best joke in the whole show, the whole internet loved it. Was when like Bulma was like, "If you don't stop fighting, I'm never gonna take a bath with you again." And I'm like, that is peak Toriyama right there. Like that is the stupid humor I love from him, and I'm so glad.
Or what was it? There was like another. There was another thing where what was it? It was like. It involved Bulma and Vegeta again, and something like Hybis just says something along the lines of like, "Oh, so you like those kind of women, huh, Vegeta?" And Vegeta is too embarrassed not to just not deny it.
Yeah, like there's so many good jokes in this show, and I really love the humor. Like it's one of the things that I thought Dragon Ball was missing for a while, and I'm glad they brought that back with this show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when you think about Dragon Ball Super, and again, I refer to it as Dragon Ball designed by committee, and you can see moments where it's like, okay, this would have definitely been a much more raunchier scene, or a more perverted scene, or just a more lackadaisical scene, but this is just meant for modern audiences. Whereas with Toriyama's gonna make stuff for Toriyama's sake.
Yeah, literally. Like this whole show really did feel like this was like a big thing for Toriyama, which like they always said that in the like promos are always like, oh, Toriyama did a lot for this one, but like he really did do a lot for this show. Like they said, like he did a bunch of designs, did the story and like all that. He was looking at animation and all that. Like you can really feel like his touch was all over this thing. And I think Daima really benefited from that because there's so many things I went, yeah, that's something Toriyama would do. And and again with the writing, like a lot of it just felt so him. Like some of the slapdashness of it as well is also like very on point for him. Like again, he literally sets up this whole thing with these like bugs and then it just goes nowhere. Like that's so Toriyama. I guess he forgot while he was writing the actual story.
That or again, it depends on what happened or like how much his death affected the production of this show, because I wouldn't be surprised if like I this could be heresy, but I would not be surprised if Toriyama passed away before he can write a proper ending for the show. And so then Toei just sort of like scrambled to come up with an ending and forgot what happened earlier in the show. It's like, oh yeah, the fusion bugs.
It was either that or he wrote like an outline like he usually does. He just didn't fill everything in when he died. That also could have been the case. Because there were a lot of moments near the end where I went, oh yeah, that's something he would have written for sure. So like, I feel like it's probably more of the outline situation in my eyes. But
yeah.
But again, like it just like, and again, like Daima is so, I don't know. I had so much. It's just fun. That's the best way I can describe it. This whole show is just fun. Like the adventure is like, despite its pacing problems, which is one knock I can give it. Like the first half is really slow. I feel like they could have sped it up by like 2 episodes, and then the pacing would have been fine because there is a long build up.
Yeah,
to the show. But regardless of that, once the show gets going, it's great. Like a lot of like big story points are happening. The villains are such lovable dorks. I love them. Goma is awesome.
It definitely Goma himself brings to mind like some stuff like Emperor Pilaf and his gang.
Exactly.
It does kind of feel like, what was it? Pilaf? No, not Goma. What were Arinsu and
Degasu?
Degasu. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a modern day Pilaf, Mai, and Shu.
Yeah, and like other characters like Majin Du and all that. Like I love those characters.
Ku and Du. They were fun. So much fun.
I love them. They're so stupid, and I love them. And
guess I'm not that strong. Hey, you know what? Oh well, but hey, I can still do a lot of stuff. I can run pretty fast. I'm
my
pretty
gosh,
smart.
the joke with him at the end.
For you.
No, the joke with him at the end ruling the Demon Kingdom was so good. I was like, this is perfect.
Yes.
No, because what made me laugh was the old Namek's name. I'm forgetting his name right now. He literally goes, oh my god, he might do good at this. I started laughing. I was like, oh, that's great. No one thought he could do this, but then he just showed in 5 minutes that he's actually a capable leader. It's so funny.
Neva,
that's his name. And the villains made this show a lot of fun for me because like again, they're so wacky and goofy and they fit the tone so well. And like the world building too was really interesting. The demon world is such a unique location, the different layers to it. Like we're getting backstory for Kaioshin, like we're seeing how their race actually works, and the same goes for the Namekians, like where they came from and why they left the demon world. And all of them have unique personalities in terms of how the worlds are and how they work. And I don't know, I found it super unique. And it just felt like like you said, it's something new, something fresh, and I'm glad we got some of that. And like all the new characters too, like Glorio and Pansy are great.
Pansy, yeah.
Pansy, I love both of them. They're really great.
I think with Glorio, it seemed like they were definitely like they kept him like a very cold, distant, mysterious character. Obviously, they were trying to build up something to him. And it seemed like with him, the payoff to like all that mysteriousness didn't quite land for me. Like obviously they did the whole thing of, oh, you spend enough time with Goku and friends, he eventually learns to become attached to them and ultimately decides to wish them to be adults once he gets his hands on all the Dragon Balls again. And yet it felt like there should have been more there, and it looked like there was more with him hinting at a past that he had with Arinsu. Arinsu apparently saving him at one point in time, and him becoming her apprentice or servant at some point. And it's like, okay, that's all interesting. I just wish that we could have spent time learning about Glorio instead of having him be like just this lone, silent, mysterious lone wolf for like 90% of the show, though.
I agree that like he was a little underdeveloped, but I did really like the moment he did that for them, Goku started calling him by his actual name because he like because he trusted him now. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, like because I thought that was just like a joke, but like it actually meant something. And I was like, oh, that's actually like really sweet. I was like, oh, that's actually great. So I don't know, I'm kind of torn about it. There's character things they do that I love. It's just some narrative points I'm like, yeah, it could have been explored more. But in like I do kind of wish we got to see a little more of like more backstory regarding the demon world in terms of like, you know, the hierarchy, like, because, you know, they hint at like stuff with Dabra and stuff, but like I feel like it's just kind of there for exposition. I do wish they kind of went a little more into some of that, because I did find it interesting when they did talk about it. In general though, I just thought the entire setting and like the way they brought this world to life was so unique and fun, and it added to that adventure feeling this show is going for, and it really paid off for me at least.
Speaking of adventure, I unfortunately cannot speak to this, but I remember throughout our viewing of Dragon Ball Daima, my roommates were commenting how much this feels very much akin to Dragon Quest. And I have never played any of the Dragon Quest games, unfortunately, but I do know that that was a big franchise that Toriyama had spent decades working with. And I'm curious if you've ever had experience with the Dragon Quest franchise.
Beyond like crossovers with Final Fantasy, that's about it. It's on the bucket list eventually of franchise to play, but I don't have a ton of experience with it.
Okay, but I guess like from someone who has looked at Dragon Quest from a glance, these newer characters, the fantasy elements, the whole traversing from one location to the next, fighting one boss after another, does feel very Dragon Quest-esque. And I remember my friend the episode where they encountered the Minotaur demon. My roommate was like, "Oh, dude, that is such a Dragon Quest design right there."
Yeah, I saw a lot of people online saying that too, like the Dragon Quest influence.
Yeah, and honestly, that was also one of my favorite episodes where Goku and Glorio was like, "I'm gonna fight the Minotaur. No, I'm gonna fight the Minotaur. All right, how about we test our strength, see who can fight the Minotaur?" And then they ultimately set up the fight between Goku and Glorio. Meanwhile, the Minotaur was just in the background. It's like, I have a feeling these guys forgot about me.
Yeah. And then he saw Goku turn Super Saiyan, and he just went, "Yeah, I'm out, guys. I'm not doing that."
Actually, I'm not. I don't feel like eating you guys. I think I might have eaten something that I'm still kind of full from.
Yeah, also like the episode with like the giants was kind of unique. Like that was a standalone episode that was kind of cool. Like another aspect of the demon world that I didn't really think about.
You know what? I kind of wish that we had more standalone adventure episodes like the giant episode. Instead, a lot of the first half of the show is we lost our ship, we got to get a new ship, or our ship broke down, we got to repair the ship. Every other episode was just we lost the ship, our ship doesn't work, so we got to find another ship.
Yeah, that's why I feel like that those first like 6 episodes, I feel like you could have truncated some of that to make it like flow a lot better. Because like once you get to the first Tamagami, like that's when the show picks up like a lot in terms of its pacing.
Oh yeah.
So
I also find it funny. I wonder if this was intended to be like a running gag of them constantly losing ships. Because the moment our second party entered the demon world, they lose their ship. And then Goku comes in just to say, "Oh, sorry, we just came just to check on you. We have no intention of bringing you along. Bye now." Yeah,
like I don't know. I don't know. It's just barring those like pacing issues though. I genuinely love the story. Like I did like this story overall. I really did. Like despite its some issue like narrative shortcomings, I think overall it's pretty solid. Although I think by far the biggest ass pull the story gives is Super Saiyan 4 coming out of nowhere. Like,
yes. You know what? This is one of the moments where I will give some credit to GT, because GT Super Saiyan 4 was just as much of an ass pull, a literal ass pull. They literally pulled the tail out of Goku's ass.
At least they have a narrative, like they actually explained how it works and how he gets it. You know, like at least you see that journey.
and you have to struggle to earn the power of Super Saiyan 4. You know, he turns Golden Ozaru. He goes on a rampage. It's up to Pan to reach out to him. He is brought back to his senses and then overcomes his primal urges in order to contain that power into a human form. Here it's just, here's a power up. Now you're Super Saiyan 4. You got the tail back. Don't ask how it works. And then also it's like apparently Goku's been working on this power up since Buu. But it's like, was he intending on bringing back his tail? Is the tail a part of it in any case? what was Neva doing all along? Did Neva just unlock that potential the same way Guru did back on Namek?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it does just kind of come out of nowhere. Now, granted, when it was on screen, I don't know, I ripped my pants in half. I was like, oh my God, Super Saiyan 4. But like, again, when you think about it, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But in the moment, it's so cool when he does it, though.
Yes, it is.
That's Daima in a nutshell. Or that's Dragon Ball. Like, something will not make a lot of sense narrative-wise, but like in the moment, you're like, that is so fucking cool. You're like, that's awesome.
Yeah. One thing and one little nitpick. So I know the show likes to, I mentioned before, likes to go back to basics, return to where Dragon Ball once was in terms of it's about the adventure, not so much about the fighting, until we get to the part where it's all about the fighting. This show, I know, on a few occasions likes to become very self-referential, where it'll straight up like copy or do throwbacks to moments we remembered from the original manga. Episode 1 has this a lot, where episode 1 is just the animators wanted to reanimate Boo. Here's a clip show in HD.
A very gorgeous montage, but like, yeah, it is kind of like a best hits of the Boo arc, which I'm like, best hits of the Boo arc, really? I don't hate the Boo arc. I'm just like, you know, it's arguably the weakest of the Z portion by far. So I'm just like, yeah, all right.
Unfortunately, it is the most relevant for this story.
It is, but like, a lot of people give the Boo arc shit, and I think it deserves some of it. But I'm like, I don't know, man. There's some cool stuff in that one. I'm like, I'll give it a pass. Like I give Boo a pass.
Another moment was the I like to call it the Diet Ginyu Squad, the Diet Ginyu Force.
Oh my gosh!
Where you have these guys who are, in my opinion, nowhere near as interesting as the actual Ginyu Force, with designs barely different from the rest of the what are they called, the Kenpeitai, the elite guards.
Yeah.
And they're just doing the Ginyu Force bit right down to the awkward silence. Goma having a little sweat drop like Frieza, and then be like, okay, we're moving on now.
Now, I mean, to their credit though, I knew the joke was gonna go, oh, these guys are nothing. And to be fair, when they did get to that joke, I did laugh, because it was just Vegeta just did not care, and he was just like, man, I'm sick of this, and he just like handled them alone. But like, yeah, I will argue, it's like, it is a little bit like, we've been there, done that.
I think the joke might have landed if they were introduced in that very episode or like the prior episode, but instead they were hyped up for like 4 episodes, which I think was a little too long. By then, like, the joke had kind of worn out. But then like the last part, this one is like, I'm willing to forgive the most, because it's so cool. It's just Goku doing the Super Saiyan 3 introduction, but with Super Saiyan 4, just like in the Boo saga. He's like, this is Super Saiyan, this is Super Saiyan 2, this is Super Saiyan 3, and this is to go even further beyond.
Yeah, but I will say, like, that moment, I did not care, because it was like, so, like, dude, when he said, and one more thing, I'm not gonna lie, I started jumping up and down. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna do it. And like, I gotta say, again, I am so glad we went back to like pre-Super. I'm not ragging on the God forms. I'm really not. Or Ultra Instinct. I'm not. I'm just saying the fact that Super Saiyan 3, my favorite form, gets to do shit in this show and it looks cool as fuck. Yes. I am on cloud 9 about that. Like, oh my God, we got to see Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Vegeta do cool things with both of them. I'm like, let's go. This is what I've been praying. I used to pray for times like these.
There it truly is a god now.
Yes.
And his name is Beerus the Destructor. The Destroyer. What was it? I know people there are people who are not fans of Vegeta's new Super Saiyan 3 design.
Oh, honestly, well, they're wrong. They are factually incorrect.
I personally dig it more than the video game designs for Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah, because it's just Goku's hair without the little spike at the end. Like, no, this one, like, he actually has a unique design, which I'm like,
it's a unique silhouette, yeah. And I honestly, like, people make comparisons to Beast Gohan's hair. I think it works better than Beast Gohan's hair.
Well, yeah, because Beast Gohan is like, I don't know, they like overdid it a little bit. I was like, all right, it looks kind of dumb, but I mean, it's cool, I guess. Like, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta actually fits within like how Super Saiyan 3 like worked, kind of how the hair grows out like that. I don't know. I actually, because if you look back on the manga, there's like a distinct difference between Goku Super Saiyan 3 and Gotenks Super Saiyan 3. Like there is a difference with their hair. So I'm glad that they like I'm sure this was Toriyama. He actually decided to give Vegeta his own silhouette with Super Saiyan 3 and it looks great. I love it. It actually like works with him. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So
now, I do wonder, was the motivation to do Toriyama's Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 and Toriyama's Goku Super Saiyan 4? I gotta wonder, did they do this because A, Toriyama wanted to do it, B, Toei wanted to sell new action figures and DLC of these characters?
I feel like it's definitely, you know, the committee wanted that, but like I know Toriyama's probably like, yeah, that sounds cool, I'll do it. And I mean, at the same time though, the character designer for Daima was Nakatsuru, who also did Super Saiyan 4 and GT. So like, you know, there is kind of that like, it's kind of sweet in a way. It's like, because Toriyama did like Super Saiyan 4. It's been on the record that he thinks Super Saiyan 4 is really cool, and he's like, I wish I would have designed that. So I think this was his kind of tribute to Nakatsuru in a way, where it's like, oh yeah, you know, you did this, let me do my own variation of this. And I'm sure Nakatsuru was like, you know, touched that Toriyama got to do his own version of his design. I'm sure that must have been sweet to him in a way, because he is basically Toriyama's mimic. I mean, like more so than Toyotaro. Like people like Toriyama's gone on record saying Nakatsuru, he has seen Nakatsuru's drawings and he thought, did I draw that? Like, that's how good he is. So like, I don't know. I think it's oddly sweet in a way that, you know, we get to see a Toriyama version of that. So that's just how I view it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I do really like the new, like much like with Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, I do really enjoy the Toriyama Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You know, the bare wrists and the bulky forearm, Popeye forearms did take some getting used to.
Oh, I love
it. But then
I love
it. In action, seeing it in action, I really dig it. It's just like, again, you want he's Super Saiyan but monkey.
Yeah, you know, I love how he did make him look a lot more like an ape. Like I thought that was really cool. Like again, a way to make it stand out is that he's got more pronounced arms. But I think also like when he turns back into an adult, I think it looks even better there too, because I feel like the proportions are a little bit more realized, I guess, in a way. Because I guess as with the kid body, they are a little limited because you know they're more frumpy dumpy child forms. But like when he goes adult, like, dude, it looks so cool when he's an adult. I was like, all right, like, I'm down. And also the red hair. Love the red hair, by the way.
Love the red hair. Although, I gotta say, the red hair combined with the red eyes, it reminds me a bit too much of Super Saiyan God. What do you think?
Disagree. If we're looking at it from, like, the super color palette, where it is kind of that, like, what is it? It's not a beige.
I guess
red.
It's more of like a magenta.
Yeah, magenta.
Yeah.
But like if you look at it from like the movie or even Super Broly, like it's a more you know, it's more of a bright red sometimes. When God looks like that, I think it's fine. If we're going off the super color palette, it is kind of the same kind of color if it's just slightly darker, but I don't mind it because he still kept, you know, the hair and everything. And so I think it's different enough.
Gave him the guy liner.
Yeah, he gave him the guy liner. Like I think it's fine. Like I don't have any issues with that because God is its own thing, which is a form I really like because it's, you know, it was fresh when it was out, and you know it's like a slim Goku, and he's more like calm because it's like base Goku if he's like, you know, reached divinity basically. And I like that. Yeah. So. And Super Saiyan 4 is
I hate
like,
how Blue threw all that out of the window.
Yeah, fuck Super Saiyan Blueberry. I don't care. It's so dumb. It's okay. They redeemed it with Ultra Instinct, so I'm not complaining. But like, which is like one of the best forms Dragon Ball has ever seen. But like, I think Super Saiyan 4 in general in this show, despite how much of a shoehorn it was in the plot, it is so cool when it's on screen because when the show does become, you know, 4 episodes straight of nonstop action, which by the way, crazy how good that looked for 4 episodes straight. Like that was movie quality. Like I swear, like that was a whole movie's worth of quality action, and I cannot believe this show was able to do that. Like that's crazy. But
Only a show from with a legacy like Dragon Balls can do something like that.
yeah, but like when he actually starts fighting though, like they actually decided to make this different by having him, move around like, an ape would and stuff like that. And I find that so, because that's one thing I wish Super Saiyan 4 did in the original GT, because it's supposed to be like the primal instincts of a Saiyan, and they don't really do that in GT. But
he needed to be more monkey.
Yes, but here he's actually like, he Caesars, like apes don't kill apes or something, like he's actually like doing that, and I'm like, that's cool.
A slight nitpick, but when he finally transforms as an adult into Super Saiyan 4, he's for whatever reason, even though he was floating up in midair, he's now climbing up this mountain. Yeah, but I wanted them to recreate the moment from the intro, for the GT intro. Of
I
him
feel like
standing
that
on
was
that
supposed to be the tribute. Like I think,
but
that
we never got that exact
yeah
frame of it.
Well, I love how like you don't see it, but I
They
really
were
did
so
imagine.
close.
No, I just like to imagine Goku does that huge transformation and then he just fell. Like he just straight up fell. He was like, I'm tired. And then he just fell. And then he catches himself and he's like,
you know what?
Ugh.
It was his Popeye arms. They were too heavy. He's
Yeah,
like, oh
exactly.
shit.
Which, by the way, shout out to Nozawa, because she's like 88 years old, and that scream she gave when like that huge echo happened, dude, I got like legit goosebumps from that. I was like, how in the world is she able to do this at like almost 90 years old? Absolute goat. I don't know how the hell she was able to do all that, but gosh, unreal performance.
Yes, absolutely. Major credit for her for being able to just not just this show, but to carry on this character and everyone else from the Son Goku family for so fucking long.
I know.
But that is an interesting thing to bring up for this show. For this show, once all the characters were she's 88, by the way, just looked it up. For this show, once all the characters were, wished into being kids again, they were all recasted with all new voice actors, save for Masuko Nozawa herself. And these characters, they don't exactly pull off kid voices for these kid versions of the characters. Rather, they just feel like they're just doing their best to mimic the previous voice actors. So this is something I've heard a few fans theorize. I want to know what your thoughts were. Is it possible that they are trying to phase out or eventually plan on, this is Toei's way of testing the waters with a new voice cast, so that in the event that one of these actors may retire or pass away or for whatever, they're trying to like come up with like the next generation of voice actors to eventually carry the torch for them?
It wouldn't shock me if that is an idea, because I know One Piece is really struggling with that as of late. Because I know they recently lost Frankie's voice actor not too long ago. He's not dead, for the record. He just retired. But like, he stepped away. But I feel like that is the case. But at the same time, I'm also like, Nozawa, I feel like whenever hopefully this does not happen soon, but if Nozawa ever passes, I feel like that's going to be huge. I don't know how you can even get close to that in my eyes, because she's so recognizable as that voice to me now. It's like, how do you replace it? So, but when it comes to the new voice actors, I thought they all did a really good job. Like they all sounded the part and they all did a really great, same for Vegeta's kid actor. He did great. Like when he was doing the fight scenes and stuff, like he had the he was able to scream and everything, and it sounded good. And I was like, all right, like these are solid picks for their voice actors. So I feel like it's going to be something they're going to get down to. But I feel like if Nozawa isn't going to retire, I don't think Vegeta or Piccolo's actor is going to retire anytime soon. I'm just saying that now.
At the same time, they're not getting any younger.
No, but
eventually, I hate to say it. I hate to bring reality and to be morbid here, but there will come a day where these talented, wonderful individuals are no longer going to be with us.
Yes, and I'm so aware of that. But like, for now at least, I do know, like, however long they keep doing this, I feel like until they officially say they're done, like, I think it's gonna stay. But regardless, for what these new actors did, they were spot on. I really liked all of them. I thought they all did the part. Like Vegeta's and Piccolo's kid actor really impressed me. I was like, wow, they sound how they should to me. So I don't know. I think whenever that bridge gets crossed, they're gonna cross it. But for now, at least, I think it's really solid. But I still just have to sit there in bewilderment as to how Masuko Nozawa, at 88 years old, is able to still do this and play it spot on. Like, she's still spot on. I don't know how she does it. Like, it's crazy.
I think, what was it? It was the moment when Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, does the Kamehameha that blasts through all 3 layers of the demon realm. That was just like voice acting, cinematography, animation, music, sound design. All of it was just like at peak 100%. Like, I'm willing to forgive a lot of this show's faults for just being able to just land the ball on moments like these.
Yeah, the last stretch, I legit was kicking my feet up. I'm not kidding, dude. I was having a blast. I was like, oh my gosh, and also, like, when you first see Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, my jaw like hit the floor. I was like, no way we're actually doing this. like again, in terms of the canon right now is kind of in a forest fire as of late.
Yeah.
Because if this show is actually canon, I don't know how they're gonna explain all this. But
what was it? It was the first red flag that I remember people noticed from episode 1 was that first off, it was Kibito Kai unfused at the start. Despite the fact that they supposedly did not unfuse until Super came around. Second, they retconned once again how Boo's body worked, where at first it was like, oh, something in Boo must have unfused Vegito. Oh no, never mind, it was just a time limit. No, never mind, it was Vegito it was Boo who unfused Vegito, and that's how Kibito Kai got unfused again.
It would not shock me if they just say Daima is in connection solely to the manga and that's it. If they do that, I can give this a pass. I really would. But like, if they're gonna say this is connected to Super, I'm gonna start laughing and be like, how?
They're gonna try to, because for years they did not say shit about Dragon Ball GT, because Dragon Ball GT technically takes place after the end of Z portion of the manga, whereas all of Super, like, Toei refuses to go beyond the end of Z era of the franchise.
I mean, it gives me hope. They're getting close to end of Z for Super. They are. So it gives me hope.
Very hesitantly though. They want to stay as much as possible in that little sweet spot post Boo period where where Dragon Ball is at its most marketable.
True.
But again, Dragon Ball Daima Committee, I won't stop harping that. And of course, Daima goes back to that fresh off the Boo saga. What was it, like 9 or 11 months after that? But what was it? After the fact, they retcon the Kibito Kai. They retcon how Boo works. What was it? I think with I was a little bit confused at first with Dende, because I think Dende had like an adult design at some point in the Boo saga, and then he went back to being a kid again, despite the time skip. I guess this is one's also kind of a nitpick. They retcon how all the characters are supposed to look as kids, because like characters like Krillin, Piccolo, Vegeta, we have seen them as kids, and they don't look anything like how they look in this art style. But again, they used to look like very squat, what do you call it? Very stocky designs. What was another thing? Namekians, they were retcon into being actual demons again, as opposed to just simply aliens. They retcon how Boo works for the second or third time, I think. In terms of his origins, I mean. Is
this anything new to Dragon Ball? Like, let's be real.
No, it's not new to Dragon Ball, but the fact that Daima, on many occasions, have completely disregarded anything that was said before or since its place in the timeline, which makes me think that either they don't care
Oh,
about
you know
Super.
Toriyama doesn't care. I know he doesn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is the same guy who's like, you know what, father of Goku, I respect it, but fuck you, this is how Bardock should be.
Yeah, let's turn Bardock to Superman dad. Yep.
Yeah. You know, you like the Bardock movie? Fuck you. Here's Dragon Ball Minus. Yes, it's half a story that's incomplete. No, I don't give a shit because I'm Toriyama, damn it. What's that? You don't like Dragon Ball Minus? Fuck you. Here's more of my Bardock at the beginning of Dragon Ball Super Broly, just to rub salt in your wounds, fanboys.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm making Toriyama into such a vindictive asshole here.
I don't know. You just know he's sitting there and he's just like, yeah, this sounds cool. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Wait, what do you mean it retconned something? It did? Well, it doesn't matter. all right.
Well, where's that fuck I'm supposed to give?
Yeah, I know. Like, you just know he like forgets everything, and that's kind of his big thing.
This is oh yeah. At some point in the Buu saga, Shenron is able to give 3 wishes, only to go back to giving 2 wishes.
Oh my god, I love the joke where he was like, "Oh, that's for the regulars. They get the 3 wishes."
Honestly,
funny.
that's amazing. That's a little bit of nice world building.
That was one of my favorite. I love how modern Dragon Ball has made Shenron an actual character. Like that, I love when they do that.
Oh yeah, it's like, I want them all to be kids again. So what exactly is your definition of kid? How old are we talking now? Okay, so now if you want Goku and his friends to be kids, how far does this extend to exactly? Like, you can tell he's kind of fucking with Goma at that point.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's just Shenron's so fun. Ever since Battle of Gods, Shenron has been like he kind of went up a few pegs for me in terms of characters, because every time they do a joke with him, it's always really funny to me.
Oh yeah. Or what was it like? Bulma using the Dragon Balls in Superhero for what is essentially plastic surgery.
Yeah. Or even like Resurrection F, where like Shenron could not give less of a fuck to bring like Frieza back in his full body, so he just gave him the pieces.
Oh, that is great. But what was the other retcon I'm thinking of? Okay, so we know that in at least in the Super manga, I forgot if this was said in the Battle of Gods movie or in Super, where Goku says, "This is it. No more transformations after this."
Oh no, that's Battle of Gods. That is 100% Battle of Gods.
Okay, and then was it Vegeta? They're just like, "Oh, Vegeta's stronger than he's ever been before."
Yeah.
Obviously, no Super Saiyan 3 there.
I mean, it was funny at first because like when the Super Saiyan 3 episode happened, all of us just were like, okay, well maybe he just didn't do it there because he was so enraged or something. But this was before Super Saiyan 4, mind you, so there was still like some hope that like, oh, this'll still connect just fine, barring that Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta thing. No big deal, right? Then Super Saiyan 4 happened, and everyone's like, oh, okay, never mind.
That was the funny thing. Everyone, like, again, this is what I love about week-to-week schedule releases, where every episode gives you a week to go over what just happened, gives you a week to talk amongst your friends, get hyped for the next episode, theorize what's going to happen. Everyone was predicting that the fusion bugs were going to come and factor in at some point or another, which it was so funny that they never did. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to want to introduce a new transformation for Goku. And some fans were like, is it Super Saiyan 4? Is it Super Saiyan 4? And certain people were like, no, it's never going to be Super Saiyan 4. And then it turned out to be Super Saiyan 4. So again, going back to something I was saying earlier, it seemed like Toei was very hesitant to say that GT is no longer in canon in their modern Dragon Ball timeline, even though Super has done enough to retcon GT out of canonicity. Again, GT is just too marketable. They continue to include characters and transformations from GT into the video games and toy lines and all kinds of merchandise. They want to still preserve GT to some extent because they know people like it. It's like Bonaventura, who's like, oh, all the Transformers movies are still in canon with the Bay films. And he's trying to say that because he knows people out there still like the Bay films and doesn't want to like erase them from existence and piss those people off. So I'm wondering if Daima was just Toei's way of making their own version of GT in order to finally move on to post End of Z and officially like overlap and make GT non-canon in their animated Dragon Ball franchise.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I you know, when Super came out, I thought it was like, or even Battle of Gods, it was like, okay, we're now continuing the story, but this is Toriyama's continuation. Is kind of what they keep iterating on. So like, GT had its place. I feel like the fact that they still, tribute to it, or they still add characters or designs into the games and all of that, it's never going to go away completely, because GT was always there and it's a big part of the franchise's history. So in that regard, you cannot replace it. But it's also like, at the same time, I guess this is my Dragon Ball fan bias coming in the way, where I'm like, I think it is cool to see Toriyama take these ideas and spin them into his own thing. Like Broly, for example. Broly's like an actual character now. And I love the new version of Broly so much. He's such a lovable little dork, and I love him.
Yeah, absolutely. And same goes for Toriyama's take on Gogeta, because I believe the story goes he originally wanted to do Gogeta, but then Toei did Gogeta first in Fusion Reborn, and that's what made him get petty and be like, fine, I'm not gonna do your stupid Gogeta anyways. Here's Vegito instead, because fuck you.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. I part of me just is like, it's really cool to see, the man himself decide to take an idea and then spin it into his own thing. Because a lot of the time, it's different and unique, and it's a version of the character you wouldn't think about. And it's like, because that's how, honestly, it's how much of a genius Toriyama is. Like, he can take an idea and make it interesting. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I see something here with this. So I don't know. I feel like I see it less cynically, but that's just like, that's just how I've always viewed a lot of this. Because when you do see stuff from him and I'm like, oh, this is really cool actually, and different. The only time I necessarily won't say that is Superhero with Orange Piccolo and Beast Gohan, where I'm like, okay, we've seen this before.
Yep. Again, we're doing Super Saiyan 2 Gohan again. Okay.
I mean, Orange Piccolo is less bad, because at least it's like, I don't know. I was just happy Piccolo got to do something again, and I was like, all right, cool.
Speaking of which, I do wish Piccolo got to do something more meaningful in this story as well, because
he is kind of just there for the ride.
Right, which is what he's been mostly relegated to for a lot of Dragon Ball and Super as well.
To be fair, the gag at the end is great. Like, when he, Piccolo, you think he'd do it, and then he does it, and then, Ku shows up with the book, and then he just beats him in the back of the head with it, and that's it. Goma's done.
Or I love how they mention, like, oh, there must be something in the book that might help us out at the end.
No, the literal book itself doesn't.
The literal book,
Like, again, that's a joke I love. Like, it's jokes like that where I'm like, it gets a pass for me, because the humor is just on point with this show. It really is.
Or like the last joke, the very last post-credit scenes, it's revealed that this magic eye that the main villain Goma has been using, and they finally destroyed it. It's this rare item that gives you a stupidly absurd amount of power. And it turns out you could just buy more of it at this little shop in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, oh yeah, they've been there for a long time. They're just really expensive, and no one has bought them since.
Oh, I did love people online when it was like, at first people were debating if Goma with the eye would actually like beat like Kid Buu and stuff like that. And then like, I think it was by the third episode I already went, oh yeah, no, Kid Buu doesn't stand a chance against this.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier, that was another thing that was a retcon, where originally it was insinuated that what was it, Bobbity, I forgot if it was Bibbidi or Bobbity who's in the present day.
Bibbidi was the one who created him, I think.
Yeah, or Bibbidi's father, Bobbity, No, Bibbidi Bobbidi.
No,
No,
Bobbidi.
Bobbidi's father,
No,
Bibbidi.
Bobbidi was the one who's in the show. Bibbidi was the
Yes,
one who created Boo.
that's true because of the song Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo.
Yes, exactly. Think Disney, damn it.
Yeah, just like Toriyama. We have to think like him.
Yes.
So yeah, Bibbidi. It was insinuated that Bibbidi created Boo, and then later on, Toriyama stated in interviews, no, he didn't create Boo. Boo has been around, has been this ethereal force that's been around since the beginning of the universe, and now it's like, oh no, this old witch created him.
Yeah, like, again, I can let that stuff pass because it's happened so many times in Dragon Ball. It just, at this point, it doesn't phase me anymore. The only time it would actually make me angry is if they said Super Saiyan 3 never happened, and then I'd actually, like, throw my chair over the wind, like, outside my house or something. I'd be like, what is this? You can't do this to me.
To be fair, Toriyama almost did that to Super Saiyan 2.
Yes, but, it's not, Super Saiyan 3 is better.
It's not Super Saiyan 3.
Okay?
He still remembered Super Saiyan 3.
Like, look, in terms of usefulness, yes, Super Saiyan 2 is a more useful form, but, like, dude, in terms of a cool factor, oh my god, Super Saiyan 3 all the way.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like,
Hell yeah.
You're talking to the 1% here. I'm, like, the person who thinks Super Saiyan 3 is the best form. Like, I cannot get enough of that.
No, man. I'm with you. I was there during a time before GT came to America, and Super Saiyan 3 was, for that short amount of time, considered the pinnacle of Dragon Ball power-ups.
Even when I was watching Dragon Ball, like, back in the day, like, even when I knew Super Saiyan 4 and all of that, 3 was just the form I thought had the most sauce, dude. Like, the aura it had, like, oh my god. Like, dude, whenever Goku gives, like, the death stare in Super Saiyan 3, it's like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, I will kiss Goku. It's so cool. Like, oh my god.
Here's the other thing. Daima actually did something that we've never gotten out of Super or the original Dragon Ball, and that was Super Saiyan 3 was used to finish a fight.
Oh, and not even that. Even when it's used in the final battle, it actually was effective to some degree before Goma said,
Yes.
fuck you, I'm getting stronger. Like, that's literally it. Like, oh my gosh. You will not understand how happy I am that this form got to do something again. Because it's the form that gets shitted on the most. Like, in GT, it's useless. They use it twice and it gets its ass kicked both times. Super,
because we gotta advertise the new hot thing now.
In Super, the one time it was still the most powerful form, it gets its ass handed to it in 5 seconds because of Beerus. And every other time it shows up, it's just there to scale up a fight or something. That's usually it. But whatever it, like, now that it actually got to do something meaningful, I was over the moon about that. Because when Goku, like, when Super Saiyan 3 in, like, one of the last episodes, I was like, let's go, about time. And I'm like, you get to see, which, by the way, I am so happy they finally started making Dragon Ball look like modern Toriyama. I am so happy they did that.
Oh, true.
Because I was so
a lot of
sick
the designs...
and tired of the Yamamuro era of Dragon Ball, where it was like, look, no hate against that man, but that art style was getting real old after a while, and I really and Super Broly was finally that step into something new, and we're actually representing modern Toriyama a bit, and now with Daima even more so. And I'm just so happy we got to see that before, like, for the last Toriyama product that he personally had a hand on, for it to finally represent his modern art style, I think is really sweet. I'm like, it's great that we finally got that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. Another thing that I did not like, I was not too big on with Super, is how, a lot of the Yamamuro designs just made the show feel a lot very, very stiff, very plastic looking, very rigid, and very blocky even. It worked for the time back in the Buu saga.
Oh, when he was in his prime, it's great.
Yeah.
But like, when it got to, the 2000s, 2010s is where, like, he was, I don't know. It was a lot flatter. It didn't have, like, like back in the day, they would have, like, arches to their eyes, and there was more, like, the shading and the muscle detail felt more natural. And that was, and back then it made more sense. But now it's a lot more, like you said, rigid, and, like, there's a lot of unnecessary detail that doesn't need to be there. And the designs are so overly detailed. They're not necessarily animator friendly, and that when you compound that on the bad schedule Super had, no wonder the
Mhm.
show struggled a lot of the time on the visuals because of those designs, and that's such a big factor of it. And I don't hate Yamamuro. In fact, he did a lot of work on Daima, and it looks great. So I don't know, like, just the fact that he stepped down from the main character designer role, I think was a big thing for Dragon Ball, because then you had Shintani with Broly, and then you had
Yes.
Kubota with Superhero, and those designs are great. Then you bring Nakatsuru back, who arguably I think is my
Oh
favorite
yeah, yeah, for
designer
sure.
in all of Dragon Ball. And for him to come back and bring back modern Toriyama is like great. And Yamamuro, under like when he was correcting people, barring a few times where it did just look like a super correction, he actually did a really good job on this show, and he had some really cool animation bits on it too, because he did animate quite a bit on this show. And you know what, like, I didn't realize how good of an animator he still is. Like, he actually had some really great pieces of action in this show, and I was thoroughly impressed.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel like Dragon Ball was desperately in need of a fresh coat of paint, a facelift of sorts, and it's definitely has gotten that through Broly, Superhero, Daima. I'm really glad that it's able to experiment and modernize itself while still preserving that charm, that dragon and unique style that Dragon Ball has always had, regardless of who is behind the pen. And yeah, when it comes to these designs, a lot of these designs do definitely very much so reflect Toriyama's final works. Unfortunately, given his passing, that's just the terminology we'll have to go with going forward. A lot of the characters, especially the kid designs, very slender. Certain characters look like why am I blanking out his name? The really funny standout character that I know a lot of fans liked.
Are you talking
Was
about
it
the
Kybus?
are you talking about the chubby alien? Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the chubby alien.
I'm forgetting his name too. Oh my gosh, what was it?
Oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah,
Hybus. It was Hybus.
Hybus. Yeah, he's shout out to
very,
him.
yeah. He's like, hey, I want that eyeball. Oh yeah. What's in it for me? I'll give you a kiss. Bitch, you think I'm gonna give this for you for just a little kiss? Okay. Well, what do you want? I want that hat. Okay. Why do I feel so insulted?
Dude, I also loved his voice too. He's like, I don't care what I want. Like, like he talks like that. Like, I love him. He's he's such a Toriyama coded character. Like, I love his comedy. Like, he adds, he just doesn't care. Like, he just does what he's told, and he's just like, whatever, I guess. And he's just along for the ride.
Yeah, hey, Hybus, I want you to lean down on all fours just so I can use you as a stool. And then Bulma and Ponzi eventually uses him as a step ladder.
Yeah, literally.
To check out the ship's mechanics. Yeah. But anyways, a lot of character like Hybus does represent the more like rounder, rotund designs. Like Toriyama characters are either very skinny or very fat, or very round, very skinny, slender, or very round.
Especially with the modern designs, because he definitely got a lot skinny. Like, characters got a lot slimmer as the years went on.
I mean, hell, you can use Beerus and Champa as the perfect examples.
Yeah, literally.
Of the stark character designs. The giants in that one episode, again, very bulbous, round characters. Maybe a little too simple for some people's tastes, but you can definitely tell that is definitely his modern design sensibilities.
I know some people have like their complaints with modern Toriyama design. Like, there's some people who just don't jive with it and prefer the older look, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't have an issue with that. It's more of just like, I personally really like it, and for a while I was really hoping Dragon Ball would actually start representing that, because even with Superhero and Broly, it was getting there. We didn't have like a real, like, this is modern Toriyama art style we're doing. And the fact that we did get this for Daima made me really, really happy, because I felt like because it's so unique, because his modern style is so unique to this modern Toriyama look. And the fact that we have a show now to reflect that, I think, is just like perfect, because now we actually have the different stages of Toriyama's art from the years now, and I think that's like really cool in its own way. So
yeah, and hey, you know what? Given like I just mentioned his preference for more round, bulbous designs, maybe that was why he made Goku's have the more Popeye forearms.
Yeah, or like you can tell like with even just with the eyes, like for a lot of characters now, instead of like having the more like squared arch look they used to have, now like it's a lot more rounded off near like the corners of their eyes and stuff. Like that's just
True,
such
yeah.
a more that's such a modern Toriyama look. And the fact that that is finally carried over, and like Goku is like really skinny and he actually looks like really youthful, is like another Toriyama thing. And I'm like, all right, like this is kind of what I've wanted. Like, this is really cool. Like, and I think a lot of that also boils down to the actual character designs as well, like from the animation, like from the Katsuru and the staff. Like a lot of that looks great, and everyone. Like, the show is incredibly on model for the most part, which is really crazy to think about. Like,
yes, we never had a moment like what was it? It was like a very early episode of Super that just got meme. It was the first fight between Goku and Beerus. Episode 5. That was the one that got meme to hell and back.
Unfortunately,
I think the one design I wasn't such a big fan on was Goma's like final form, where he just I'm sure a lot of people Big Goma, or rather, he just looked like Jiren with Goma's big fat head on top.
Everyone was memeing about like people were saying Goma stole his pride suit from Jiren. Like that's how like funny it was. I was like, this is good.
It didn't even occur to me that he had like the same outfit as Jiren for like most of his appearance, because he had that unique squat round body shape with the cape and everything.
Yeah.
But then once he became just a big giant muscly man, he became a Broly type fighter, just like, you know, bum rushing in and just beating the shit out of everyone. It's like, yeah, he just looks like Jiren with a very out of place cartoony clown head.
Or like Majin Do, you know, very very round design. Like, you know, he like
yes,
his whole design is circles basically. Like,
yeah, I mean, I honestly prefer Do and Ku's designs way more than his design for like Demon King Goma, as I'm gonna call him.
Yes, I agree.
Like, if you're gonna mix elements of Cybermen, again, very interesting deep lore pool there. Mixing elements of a Cyberman with Majin Buu, combining different aspects of them to create these two different yet similar looking characters, mixing and matching the colors of pink and green together, mixing elements of like Super Boo and Fat Boo and Skinny Boo together. I really like the designs for these two characters. But for Goma, once he reaches that final form, it felt too plain looking.
Yeah.
I'm glad he kept the dumb cartoony face, but everything else about him is just like, I feel like I wish there could have been something more original to his design.
I agree with that, but because it does kind of feel like a repeat of like almost like, remember like, what was it, Cell Max or something from Superhero?
Yeah,
it was just really big semi-perfect Cell, and it was like, okay, like cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, at least Goma as a character is so much more engaging and entertaining to watch that I can kind of let his design slide. Saves him. Yeah, that's what saves him, because Goma is so stupid. I love him.
And I do like that maybe this might be more territory. It's more approaching territory akin to, let's say, Garlic Jr., where you have the tiny little guy with the Napoleonic, what do you call it? A Napoleonic complex, who eventually becomes a big giant muscular dude to beat up Goku with.
And at least his you know, when he does become big, you know, he becomes the big bad at the end, at least it felt properly built up, and it wasn't just an ass pull. Like, it actually felt like there was some proper build up to this. And so when the fight started, I wasn't really like, you know, the last thing I thought of was his design, really. I was more just engaged with the story and just to see like what Goma does. So, because I will admit, I thought the plot was going to go like Arinsu was going to be like the big bad of the whole show, is what I initially thought. Yeah. But then it wasn't. And then Goma, and then I also went, oh, duh. Of course, Goma's probably going to be the villain as well. But like, I don't know. I thought it was going to go one way, but then went another way. But I was fine with that, because I will say Arinsu is probably is either my favorite or second favorite of the villains, because like she had a lot of great development as this show went on, and she's kind of a more layered character than I thought, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, if anything, I wish we got more time with her, because again, she seemed to have had an interesting history with Glorio. I wish they could have gone more into that. But I did like how she just sort of became this sort of like straight man to this, her Arinsu Ku-do ensemble they
Oh my
cast they
gosh.
got
When they
going
were
on there.
fighting the Tamagami, that was like peak. I loved that
Yes.
sequence.
You could tell, like, and it's interesting that she wants the demon world to be stronger, bigger, nastier. Not so much to rule. She wants to rule the world, the demon world, but she considers herself evil, but she's not really evil in a way. She just wants to make the demon world a realm not to be messed with.
And to the show's credit, I thought she was gonna get like really pissed with Gloriole or something, and like she kind of did, but it was like she also like accepted it, and then like once Ku is like, yeah, let's do this, she's like, oh, okay. So I don't know. It felt like it was different. It was something I did not expect, and I'm glad they didn't do the very boring route, which also goes to another thing. When they finally did turn back into adults, I thought that was going to be in the last episode. I did not think that would happen the second to last episode. So the fact that we got another episode with them as adults was a genuine surprise, and I'm glad we got to see that.
I bet you that was the animators who really, really wanted to animate adult Goku and Vegeta.
No, it was
fighting.
to get Dragon Ball fans to shut the fuck up about the show. That's what it was. Because, dude, Daima really proved that Dragon Ball fans are not beating the allegations when it comes to just wanting the flashy fight scenes, dude. This show proved it. It's true. The amount of people whining on Twitter about like, where's the fight scenes and stuff.
No one was asking for this.
Bro, there were people who were doing that, and I was like, man, you guys just don't get it, do you?
Well, I can't blame them. This is a fandom where majority of them have not bothered to read the first half of their supposed favorite anime of all time.
I saw a tweet a few months ago where it was like, Roshi never blew up the moon, and somebody literally pulled the clip from the show.
Saw that.
That's one of my favorite screenshots I've ever seen. Like, I was in tears over that.
Hey, don't fuck with Dragon Ball fans. They can't read.
Dude, they can't. Like, they literally haven't.
You know what? I remember I have a friend of mine. Shout out to Patrick Miura. He's a friend of mine from Brazil. He grew up loving Dragon Ball, just like a lot of people out there. And when I told him that majority of American Dragon Ball fans have not seen or read the first half of the story, he was like, nah, man, that's not right. Well, that's just wrong.
Well, dude, Dragon Ball in Latin America is like a religion, right? Like that's how serious they take it there. Like,
hell yeah, there are people who consider Goku to be an honorary Latino.
I mean, shit. I mean, I would. Well, granted, Goku is like my husbando. He's one of like the few husbandos I know. It's like either him or Cloud Strife, like one of the two. Like, when Goku threw off the shirt. No, dude, when Goku threw off the shirt, I fainted. I was like, oh my god, like. And in Super Saiyan 3 too, like, oh, say no more, Toriyama, you made this man happy.
So what was it? I mentioned before. Going back to the villains. I thought Goma had a lot of personality. Arinsu was taken in directions that I was very surprised and intrigued with. I would say of all of them, I think Degasu is the one I felt
Yeah, he did get kind of taken out unceremoniously. Yeah, like,
and he didn't amount to all that much. He was just a lackey for Goma, who supposedly had a little scheme. I don't know why you needed Degasu who was planning to backstab Goma when you already have Arinsu, who's also going to backstab Goma. So ultimately, Degasu was made out to be and he was also, they're both the siblings to the Supreme Kai.
Yeah, at least Arinsu actually, like, that went somewhere. Degasu's just kind of happened, like it was just a stepping stone, which is fair enough. I feel like the joke is he's about as competent as Goma if he didn't have the eye. Yeah, but that's just kind of how I thought of it.
I guess in a way kind of works if they're both two dumbass peas in the pod, which I suppose is why both of them end up stuck in that little prison for the next couple hundred years.
Oh, which by the way,
Uh,
I loved the joke where Piccolo was like, "Yeah, we can move it down to 99 years."
but overall, he doesn't amount to much in the show, and he's very derivative of Arinsu. So ultimately, he just feels like a waste, like a wasted opportunity
Yeah.
for this series overall. So I'd say he's probably the biggest marker. One of the things I was disappointed by, or one of like the biggest critiques I have against this show, and that would be Degasu, outside of the pacing and the maybe one too many callbacks to classic Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
Um,
I can agree there. Legacy was the weakest link of those three, but at the same time,
mhm.
the way he bounced off Goma though is like really funny. So he
I
had
just
his
I
positives.
That's true, and I just wish there was more. Much like with Arinsu, where it's like I wish we could have seen more development with her, maybe some more moments with her, and I felt like maybe the idea was Arinsu was changing as a result of the positive influences that Ku and Du brought upon her. Maybe in a similar, maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but kind of a similar way to how Goku's upbeat positivity would turn people over to his side eventually, be it Tenshinhan or Yamcha, Piccolo, Vegeta. I wonder if Toriyama kind of wanted to do a little bit of that with Arinsu and her pseudo sons slash creations. Yeah, I felt like with Arinsu and Degasu, but especially Degasu, I wish there would have been more development there. I don't know if it was the 20 episode limit was not enough time to juggle these new characters, or if maybe they were just a bit shaky on how they were spending their time early on with the first half of the show, and constantly focusing on, oh, we lost the ship, let's get a new ship. Oh, we got to fight these guys, now let's fight these guys.
Yeah, I agree.
But I just think that it could have been handled a little more gracefully in terms of these new characters, which I've enjoyed for the most part. I didn't mention Ponzi at
Oh
all
yeah, we
much,
have it.
but
I liked her a lot.
yeah, I felt like she worked as a new Bulma type character in
I don't
terms of
even
like,
say
oh,
that. She was like the pan for this show, but not annoying and endearing actually. So there's
you know,
that.
yeah, yeah, both of them I would say are good. I know I liked the fact that the reveal with that she was a princess. I liked that the party's interactions with her father and his army. It just kind of felt like that fantasy thing of, oh, fantasy land, prince, kings, princesses, and so on and so forth. I felt she had enough good chemistry with Goku, Shin, and Glorio early on. In fact, if anything, I wish this show, I don't know about you, I kind of wish this show would have been focused on just those four characters, because at least I feel like the show would have had better pacing if it only followed four characters instead of bringing in that second batch of characters later on and then having to juggle between those two parties. And then I feel like, because by the time Vegeta and Piccolo and Bulma entered the scene, Glorio and Ponzi kind of slowly faded away into the background up until like the very end of the show.
I didn't mind it too much because I thought like the balance of the first half is with the new characters, and then once we have everyone together, then the climax is there. I didn't mind that so much. I thought that was fine because at least we got to spend time with them before everyone else started showing up, and I knew who these characters were. I knew what their motives were. Well, maybe not Glorio, but like I at least understood like who these characters are and how they work within the dynamic. And once you add everyone else, then they could bounce off all of them, and then you get some fun interactions with all of them. So I don't know. I thought it worked in my eyes. I wasn't too distracted by that because I at least enjoyed Pansy and Glorio to what they added to the group dynamic in general. So that's kind of how I took it.
Yeah. I guess I would say also, did it feel like Shin, the Supreme Kai, do you think he contributed enough to warrant being in this show?
Oh, I think he did.
Like,
I think the fact that he actually got to do stuff was great because like he actually got to like fight and stuff, which we have not seen since the Boo arc. So that's really cool.
That is true. I guess I also, part of me wished he had more interactions with his siblings, because he only ever talked to Degasu once, which was the episode that dropped the ball on him, and then he only talks to Arinsu once before Goku and Du fight for a short bit, And then at the very end, where when he's like, "Yeah, I always knew there was a good side to you, Arinsu," and then that's all. That's really all we get between him and his siblings.
Yeah, I do think that was a little underdeveloped, but I think Shin overall actually added something to the show. I thought like it wasn't just, oh, we need another character there. Like he actually contributed and actually added something to their dynamic. And also like especially early on where it was like him and Goku basically being partners was really cool. I really because they did some cool stuff together.
Yeah.
Like they would actually like it was like when oh god, there was like a part where I think it was with Goku's transmission or something, and Shin was like, "Oh yeah, no, watch this." And then like Goku does this thing, and then Shin like completely has his back on it. Or when Shin and Goku are actually talking about Glorio, and they're both like on the same page about it. Like I like stuff like that. Like again, like that's when I really appreciate when Toriyama writes Goku because he makes Goku smarter than he actually is. And I think a lot of people forget that Goku actually is a smart guy when it comes to either judging someone's character or when it comes to fighting itself. Like I appreciate stuff like that. So when Daima did that, it made me really, really happy because that is the Goku I like. So I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That was something I forgot to mention early on. There's so much of Dragon Ball I'd love to talk about that I just, constantly forget because there's always something else to talk about in this review. But early on, another issue I had with Dragon Ball Super is just sort of like the Flanderization of Goku, where after the Buu arc, anything new that we've had with Goku, certain writers tend to oversimplify him to where anything and everything about his personality, I guess Toriyama is also guilty of this to some extent, anything and everything about his personality is simply due to him being a Saiyan. He likes to fight. Why? Because he's a Saiyan. He likes to eat. Why? Because he's a Saiyan. His personality, but eventually his personality in Super is just boiled down to he likes to eat and he likes to fight and doesn't care about anything else. Whereas with this, I feel like this does bring about that more adventurous side of Goku, the kind of side of him that wants to do the right, that's always willing to do the right thing, who's nice to others, to people who are nice to him, willing to help out those who are willing to help him out as well. And the kind of person who, of course, never backs down from a fight and wishes to see things through till the very end. Not the kind of person who just doesn't really take anything seriously, which I think Super Goku is really guilty of a lot of the time.
No, I can agree with that. That's one of my issues with Goku in Super is that. But this show actually, like, it had that balance, and I appreciated that because that was sorely missing. Also, I will say, like, one of my favorite moments of the show is when, like, Goku fights the first Tanagami, where he does like the bell swapping thing, and then Goku has like this immense respect for this guy, and then he's like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball's there, and like there's just like mutual respect between these two. And I don't know, I loved that. I was like, all right, yeah, like this is the type of like Dragon Ball dynamic that I really, really love. And that goes for all of the Tanagami fights. Actually, I liked all of them. They were all unique and fun, and I loved I love when Vegeta had to solve the kids question. That was so funny.
It's like you think it's a math answer, but no, it's a logistical question.
Yeah, and I started laughing because I think it was Bulma was like, oh, I don't know if he's good at this stuff. It was really good.
I just love the payoff. It's like, how many cookies, this kid gave the snake a cookie, and then he gave cookies to this, and then cookies to that. How many cookies does the snake eat? 0, because snakes don't eat cookies.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I thought that was like really fun. And so I don't know, it's stuff like that I really appreciate because it has that like fun adventure feel. And that was like one of the things that really drove me through Daima, was that it's something a little different, but it wasn't a bad different, like the difference between this and GT is like GT tried to recapture OG Dragon Ball, but at the same time, it was so desperate on trying to keep that Z like action and feel to it, but it just did not work. So they had to course correct. But at that point, it was too late. And then it just, even when they still tried to do that, they couldn't recapture that again. But Daima's different, where it goes for that adventure feel, but it sticks with the adventure feel. It doesn't try to double back until the very end where it would make sense for the big, huge action set piece. So I think Daima really found that balance of trying to do big crazy fight, but also we need to have this fun adventure. So there was like a big overarching narrative to get to the big fight with some action splintered in between. And that is what makes Daima to me work compared to where GT really fumbled the ball on a lot of that, especially in its early episodes, because this really is the Toriyama GT basically. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
that is
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, like, that's just why I think Daima works where GT didn't.
Oh, I believe so too. The world building is in the world they're exploring, the worlds they are exploring are interesting. The characters themselves are interesting. The build up itself could have been handled a little better, but it was at least still held my attention. And the ultimate battle at the end does reach to a conclusion that it earns those Z-esque moments. So yeah, it did what GT did, but executed it so in a much better way. And yeah, honestly, I don't think there's anything else I could add to that, because you perfectly summed it up there. So we've been at this, I'm not sure how long we've been at this, for at least over an hour, I want to say.
Hour and a half. We're almost at 2 hours.
Hour and a half. Wow. Okay. So, is there anything else that we haven't gone over yet, that we can get into before we wrap things up?
I guess, I mean, I did mention the Tanagamis, but did you have anything to add to them? Because I really liked them. I thought they added a unique like flavor and obstacle to the story, and it made getting the Dragon Balls actually like kind of fun, and it wasn't just like normal scavenger hunt.
Absolutely.
It was a little different.
Right. I thought it felt very JRPG to have a boss before every major step of the journey. And I liked how each of them had a different personality, a different weapon and fighting style. I liked how Neva can control these characters, how they have so much respect for Neva, their creator. I like the moment where Neva's just like suggesting to the last one to participate
the nudge, dude. The nudge was so good.
Hey,
I loved that part.
Why don't you join in? Me? Yeah. Just go over there. Just go on. Just fights.
Yeah.
Just again, little moments like that gives the characters and the world they live in so much more personality. I do question how exactly do the Dragon Balls work, because it looked like by the end of the show you see them back at their original posts, but they're no longer holding the Dragon Balls in them with them. So I'm like thinking, so if a wish is made and the Tamagamis are not out there recollecting the Dragon Balls to do the tests all over again, how exactly do the tests even work at this point? Or have the Dragon Balls not been used in so long that there's no system in place for recapturing the Dragon Balls? I know that's me thinking too
or
deep
unless
into
if they're
something.
under the cooldown thing, like,
or the cool. Oh yeah, that could be the cooldown.
It probably
thing.
is the cooldown, was my guess, because like even the Namekian Dragon Balls had their own cooldown. So
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I know Neva is like the fucking Dragon Ball god, so he can just tap the balls and then there you go, like they're back to normal. But I guess
that's true. Yeah.
I know the reason they did the whole Tanagami thing was the overuse of the Dragon Balls in the demon world, and that's why they did it.
True.
So I feel like that is like probably the reason, was my guess, and it wouldn't shock me if there's some interview or something later on where they go, oh yeah, no, they're just under cooldown, which would not shock me.
Oh yeah. Oh, that really makes me sad, because that's what Toriyama used to do all the time. He would do a lot of he would be asked a lot of questions and he'll give answers based on how best he can recollect on them. That's how it's like, oh hey, why did Lunch never appear in the manga again? Oh, I just forgot about her. Or like, oh, I wanted to draw her again at the end of the Boo arc at some point, but at a certain point I forgot how to draw her, so I just let Toei handle that.
Yeah, I love when he would answer stuff like that.
Yeah, or like, what happened to Super Saiyan 2? He's like, to be honest, I forgot Super Saiyan 2 existed. I thought 3 was 2. I love and I will forever miss that sort of like that. He's got so much humility about him. He's willing
the most humble person ever.
Humble, yeah. where he'll constantly take pot shots at it himself. If you ever read the manga, that's why I love another thing I love about the manga. You read these little messages at the beginning or at the end of each collected tankobon, each collected volume. And it's like you'll just see Toriyama reminiscing about his, his daily routines, his likes and his dislikes, and a lot of that quirky personality that he exudes so much into the work itself. And it's just such a shame that he's no longer with us, because he'll no longer, for us as fans at least, will no longer be able to see future interviews like that where he'll give some clarification in a dumb, silly way that raises more questions than answers.
I mean, heck, even in the Boo arc, I'll never forget the page where he like basically reused the entire spread of Goten and Trunks turning into Gotenks, and it's the same page, and the character's like, didn't we already use this page? And Toriyama's like, my editor, please don't kill me for this.
No, he's like, you know what? You're right. Hey, editor, you don't got to pay me for this page.
Yeah, just Toriyama, he would always be like, yeah, I sat there for like 3 days, not really doing anything because frankly, I'm procrastinating. Like, stuff like that makes him such a relatable guy. And he has like arguably one of the biggest properties in the entire world. And he is just so humble about it. And it makes him so endearing.
Absolutely. I remember there was a little drawing that he drew of himself. His robot avatar is like Toriyama's personal heaven. It's just him with a cigarette and a beer and a dirty magazine, and he's like, yes, okay, I see. Interesting.
Yeah, like Toriyama's such a special guy. Like there really is no one else like him. I swear, he's such a humble person.
Yeah, absolutely. There will never be another individual like Toriyama.
I feel like Neva was just basically Toriyama in the show.
Honestly, you may be right. I think you're onto something here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's like the old guy. He knows everything, but he's also just kooky and stupid. So, like, I don't know. I feel like that's just Toriyama.
He pretends to be kooky and stupid when he's smarter than he actually seems.
Yeah, like in the first episode, they make him out to be like all of this, but like the later half of the show, he's like actually a super nice, humble guy who actually just wants to help Goku and everyone. Like,
because he was just putting on the act just to intentionally fuck with Goma and Degasu.
Yeah, literally. So I don't know. I really enjoy Neva as a character too. He added a lot to the show in the second half, and I really appreciated, despite the other ass pull he pulled with fucking Super Saiyan 4. I loved him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding. Literally, if like Super Saiyan 4 wasn't as like just thrown in there like that, I would have been a little nicer about it in terms of the actual narrative. But for what it is, like, it's whatever. I'm like, what? I can get over that. I mean, because we're talking about modern like Dragon Ball transformations. I don't think anything is gonna be Ultra Instinct though. Like in terms of just the amount of hype that thing had, nothing's gonna be that. But 4 got pretty close. Like, I think that episode did shut down Crunchyroll for a little bit.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I think it did. So, hey, Dragon Ball is still... Although, it was really funny when Super Saiyan 4 dropped, and then everyone, like, started talking about Daima again. And then a lot of people also went, where the hell were you people, like, weeks ago?
Dude. This is so funny because we were talking about this like around the halfway point of Daima's run, and that was how nobody was talking about Daima. And then Super Saiyan 4 happened, and then suddenly Dragon Ball fans started to give a shit about Daima.
Which is funny because I was sitting there like, bro, I was liking this show since the first episode. Like, come on, like really? Well, frankly, my Super Saiyan 4 moment was Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, but that's me though. Yeah. Because that was when I was like, no way this is real. But
absolutely.
I don't know. I just thought it was really funny to bring up because it was just such a, where the hell were you people like weeks ago? Like,
yeah, and I'm very curious where Dragon Ball is gonna go going forward, because supposedly Daima, whether you look at the streaming numbers or you look at the Japanese air ratings numbers, apparently it hasn't been doing too hot overall. Ratings aren't that big. Streaming numbers haven't been that big. Maybe it's too early to tell, but that seems to be the general consensus here.
I feel like a big chunk of that though is due to the marketing. Daima had awful marketing. It did.
That
It
is
had
true.
awful marketing.
That is true. Yeah, we got one trailer when it was announced, another trailer months later, and then months go by with fuck all, and then the series just comes out, and then it's like, oh, okay, I guess we're watching this
Yeah,
now.
like a lot of people, even me included, almost forgot about Daima until like the last like month. And it was like, oh shit, it's coming out like next month. Like, oh my god. So, and I feel like it also didn't help that the show was really slow when it started. I feel like that also did not help.
Yeah. And also what didn't help is that there are people who are more who prefer to listen to dubs over subs, and the fact that the dubs started coming out on a weekly schedule instead of all at once, or
The amount of
here's
anime
all
that are simulcast now and Dragon Ball
yeah,
doesn't do that is crazy to me.
that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's insane. So yeah, they dropped the ball on the marketing, they dropped the ball on the release of the English dub. So, and again, there's a Western Dragon Ball fans who have their biases because they see it as, oh, it's just Dragon Ball Kitty Edition, but or bias against GT or whatever. But even still, I know there's a lot of people out there who still love OG Dragon Ball. They love GT and whatnot for one reason or another. So I am curious to know why, if the show really was kind of a flop, or upon its initial release. I don't know how it's going to do, DVD, Blu-ray wise numbers, or I don't know if this is one of those like slow burn type of shows where it takes a while for it to eventually accumulate views as positive word of mouth spreads. But if it does turn out to be a financial flop from a business perspective, I'm curious where this franchise is going to go going forward, especially without Toriyama's involvement, because I don't know if Toei is willing to go forward with a lot of Toyotaro's ideas. I don't know if Toyotaro himself is willing to be.
That would be the logical next thing to do in my eyes, because you still have 2 full arcs, including if they still want to have the movies, you could just don't do what Super did and completely reanimate it. Just do what Demon Slayer did and just have the movie edited down to episodes or something. Just do that, and then actually have 2 full arcs where Toriyama still had involvement. He was still there helping Toyotaro. Just do those, and then once you get past superhero, that's when you start figuring out what do we do next, because I think that would just make, because that is still something Toriyama did, and I think if you still want to respect him, that is the way to go. In my eyes, that's how you do it.
Here's the other thing. I was talking about this with my roommates as well, and that is, what if they just went back to the beginning and just readapt Dragon Ball from start to finish?
I would not like that. I wouldn't like.
You would not like. You would not like Dragon Ball, but with better pacing and modern animation.
That's Kai. That's literally Kai.
But new animation though.
Well, we already have Kai. We don't just do new things. Like, look, give Toyotaro a chance. I'm begging you.
Here's again. That was Dragon Ball Z though. Imagine if did you ever saw not Power? Did you ever saw Dragon Ball Path to Power?
Oh yeah, the movie. Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah. Now what if we go back to OG Dragon Ball again? So like, imagine essentially Path to Power, but as a TV show with Daima style animation.
Are you talking like what they're doing with One Piece, where they're doing that new Netflix show?
Yeah. One Piece.
I don't know. I feel like Dragon Ball is so far into like Super and stuff now. I feel like, what's the point of doing that when you have stories already there you can still tell? And not to mention, Toyotaro did drop a new chapter not too long ago for Super, and it was pretty fun. But at the end, it did say to be continued. So when I see to be continued, I see, okay, Super manga will continue eventually. But when it does, I mean, I'll be there to read it. And if Toyotaro can cook some stuff up, I would like to see that animated still. I mean, That's just how I feel. I feel like Dragon Ball needs to move forward. I think we're a little still stuck with. I mean, look, I've been really wanting for them to go past End of Z. I think a lot of people do. But if we're gonna still continue Super stuff, just continue it. Don't go back now. Like, I get it. It's scary. You don't have Toriyama anymore. But at least GT was something new. You know, regardless of quality, it was something new. Like, I feel like, I'm not saying like I just want something new regardless of quality. It's not what I mean. Obviously, I want it to be good, but like, they need to take a chance. I mean, granted, they're already taking a chance with Toyotaro, to be fair. But like, I feel like Toyotaro has proven himself to some degrees, despite I have my issues with Toyotaro when it comes to writing and his actual, you know, paneling and stuff for the manga. Regardless, though, he has some real talent and he's gotten a lot better over the years. He has created some really sick drawings every now and then. And the Moro and Granola arc really proved to me that he can try. Like, he definitely can. Because I know the Moro arc was mostly Toyotaro and Toriyama just helped him. Granola was a different story. That was mostly Toriyama who wrote that story. But Moro did prove to me that Toyotaro has potential, and I think he can do it. If he has the proper supervision, he can make something cool. And so I think taking a chance on him would be good. So I don't know. I just want Dragon Ball to move forward, not so much looking back. Because Daima already kind of was that, but it was still new, but it was still kind of, okay, but we have to go back to Z because that's like, you know, that's what everyone knows. So I get that, but I'm also like, Super is there. And if we're going to treat Super like the true continuation it's trying to be, then stick with it. Like, don't backpedal now when we're this far into Super, where it's already almost a decade old. So like, I don't know.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel.
I definitely see where you're coming from there. And I've also have been wanting to see the story go past the End of Z arc, mainly because the issue with putting a story before End of Z is that you already know none of these characters are going to die. You know, everyone lives happily ever after, so there's already a lack of tension there. So you just got to make a story that just does enough with the characters to make them interesting enough to where even if you know everything's going to be all right by the end, you still appreciate the journey getting there. But you can only do that for so long, and clearly they've been doing that for at least for well over 10 years, going back to Battle of Gods, which I think was 2012.
Oh my
so
gosh.
It's been 13 years since the Super era of Dragon Ball began. So for 13 years they've been desperately trying to make stories fit in between Boo and End of Z, making stories interesting enough despite the fact that we already know where everybody's gonna end up by the end. But going past End of Z, you know, it's unmarked territory. We don't know who's gonna survive or who's going to end up in a better place or not. By that point, you know, you're gonna have that unknown factor, that you're gonna have tension again. By then it's like you're free reign to do whatever you want now, because there's nothing ahead of you that can contradict what you write from that point forward. So yeah, I feel like Dragon Ball has been in a bit of a rut because of that limitation of not being able to do enough that doesn't contradict what's to come. But other than that, I'd like to see. I'm very interested to see Toyotaro's stories. I hope to read the manga before those stories may or may not be adapted, whether as films or as a TV show. I don't know if there'll ever. A lot of people want to see more movie villains return, be recanonized into the proper storyline. Of course, unfortunately, we'll never see Toriyama's take on the likes of like Cooler or Hirudegarn or Janemba. But, you know, hey, Toyotaro could potentially do that. Or he can do his own thing like he's already proven with the likes of Moro and Granola. Who knows what he has in mind for the Black Frieza saga, if that's what the next saga is going to be called.
I hope it is, because, oh my gosh, that was one of the coolest things that happened in the manga. Like, that was a moment where my jaw hit the floor. I was like, that's so sick. Like... And also like stuff like Ultra Ego and all that. Like I want to see this get adapted. Like not just because it's cool, because like it deserves to be adapted. I don't understand this hesitancy to not do it because of brandness or
Mhm.
something. I don't know, but I feel like this is stuff that would make fans lose their minds because there's still a lot of people who have not read these stories, and I think they deserve
heck,
to get a chance, you
I,
know?
I bet you there are fans who have not read the stories because they don't want to be spoiled, because they want to see them in animation instead.
Oh, that's I know there are, or people who just don't like reading manga, and that's fine. I get it, but it's like, this is mostly just for the people who are running the franchise. I just feel like I feel like these stories deserve a chance, especially now that we don't have Toriyama. These are still stories he was involved with. I feel like if you still want to have something with Toriyama's name still in there, those are the stories you can still tell and get away with it. So like at this point,
Yeah.
it's now or never with these. Is kind of my
Oh, and
point.
And when Daima was originally announced back in 2023, I know there were people who were upset that it wasn't the Moro arc that was getting adapted.
At first, I was
Um,
also like, "Are we getting a super continuation?" Because no one really knew. And then like,
yeah,
but then when I saw the trailer, I went, "All right, something different. Cool. Let's see what they do." You know, I was like, "All right, cool."
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, going forward, who's to say what's going to happen? Because I know nobody predicted Broly was going to happen. Nobody predicted superhero was going to be a thing, and certainly nobody predicted that Daima was going to be a thing. So whatever happens next, maybe, who knows, maybe every suggestion that we're throwing out there, be it Dragon Ball remake, Moro arc, end of Z shit, who knows, if anything, if maybe it could be none of it and could be something else we hadn't even thought of up until now. But I think Dragon Ball is a very popular and still highly beloved and very profitable franchise that I don't see Toei ever fully giving up on. So whatever we get in the years to come, I really do hope that we'll get something that's at the very least as good as how Daima turned out, if not
Yes,
better.
I agree. I don't know. I care a lot about Dragon Ball, and all I really want is just if they do make something, just make it good and make it fun. Just capture, even if it's not fully, just even if it just captures a little bit of what made Toriyama's touch so magical, I'm there. That's all you need from me.
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean,
I
heck,
care-
you've got 40 years worth. You got 40 years worth of material to reference.
That's what I'm saying, you know, like, and look, obviously I wasn't there for like the 90s or anything, but even as someone who was started watching the show in like the 2010s when, I was still pretty young, like it's still able to connect with people no matter how old they are and what generation they were from. So I feel like if Dragon Ball can still just hit the magic it's always had, then I think it'll be fine.
Absolutely, and we'll see, and we'll see if they've still got that magic, if they've still got that spark, that sparking light, to paraphrase, to borrow a word from the original Z opening.
Or you could say sparking zero, like the video game.
Ah, you know what? I bet you. I'm gonna say it right now. We're not gonna get any of the shit that we mentioned before. You know what we're gonna get?
What?
Super Dragon Ball Heroes Season 2, baby!
Well, I guess I'll watch it. I mean, I don't know. I got nothing better to do.
We'll get fucking, Rainbow Frieza versus...
No. Fuck it. No. Fuck
Super...
it. Give us Super Saiyan 5 from Dragon Ball AF at this point. Like, that'll be something crazy. Like,
hell yeah. Looking at Super Saiyan 5, Ultra Instinct, Burst Limit, Broly times 20 fused with Goku to fight against super meta evil perfect form Frieza.
Or some OC that looks so stupidly over designed. It's like, what the hell is this? Like,
and it'll be voiced by Dio for no reason.
Oh my god, yeah, there is that one character who was voiced by Grisha in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing in this show? I was like, this is crazy.
Anyways, before this recording gets any more
The
insane,
podcast.
well, whatever. Before this recording gets any more crazier, with higher and higher levels of insanity, where can people find you?
Oh, I guess. Well, do we want to give final thoughts or no?
Oh, final thoughts. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So, final thought. It was okay. No, I'm kidding. It was good.
It's no GT though.
Yeah, it's no Super Dragon Ball Heroes, but I think it got close. But Dragon Ball Daima.
It's no Dragon Ball Evolution.
Obviously, that's the peak of the franchise. I genuinely loved Daima. I know I said I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, but like I still really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, great writing, great characters, fun premise. It really captured the Dragon Ball magic, and for Toriyama's last contribution to Dragon Ball, I think he went out on a high note. I think he dropped one last banger. So like kudos to him. Salute. It was a fun ride. I'm glad we got this show. It was something different, and I really enjoyed it. And despite some of the ass pulls the story had, I didn't care. It was hype as hell, dude. Like, I got to kick my feet up again like a 10-year-old, and I think that's what matters. So that's what I think. I really enjoyed it. And as my Letterboxd review said, I just diamonded my pants. So it's a good one. Highly recommend it if you haven't watched it yet.
Absolutely. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you need to watch this series. It feels like, especially if you're a fan of all eras of Dragon Ball, this show is kind of like the perfect summation of where Dragon Ball was, and is going. It's got that spirit of the classic Dragon Ball. It's all about the adventure. It's got enough spectacle of the Z era. It's got a lot of intriguing ideas akin to GT. It continues to introduce new characters akin to Super. So in a way, Daima feels like a combination of all of it. It's a celebration of Dragon Ball's history, and I think as an unintentional swan song for Toriyama, I feel like he could not have left this world with a better gift to his fans than with this project. So yeah, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, highly recommend it. If you're thinking about getting into Dragon Ball, maybe it's not exactly the best place to start. I would recommend the manga starting from chapter 1. But you know what? Hey, it's 20 episodes. It's short, it's sweet, it's simple, relatively simple. If you're someone who knows someone who's into Dragon Ball, maybe you'll have a good time watching it and having a friend by your side to explain things along the way.
At the very least, if you just watch Dragon Ball Z, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, oh yeah. You don't. That's a good point. You don't need to watch any of the super shit, because this takes place right after. If you're a lapsed Dragon Ball fan who hasn't kept up with the franchise in a while, this is the perfect starting point to get into modern Dragon Ball. That's another good
if you
point.
do watch Daima and then you go, well, why isn't Super Saiyan 4 in Super? Well, then I don't know what to tell you after that.
yeah, you're kind of fucked by that point, pal. You're up Shit's Creek without a Super Saiyan 4 shaped paddle.
Yeah, that's when I tell you, like, well, tough shit, buddy. I don't know what to tell you at that point. But hey, it's Super Saiyan Blue.
It's like Super Saiyan, but it's blue.
Oh my god.
And then we get to Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, which is Super Saiyan Bluer.
Oh my god, that form is just, oh my god. By far the worst form, up there with fucking what was it?
Super Saiyan Rage?
No, yeah, was it Fall Super Saiyan or something? Yeah, it's up there with that. Like, it's dumb and stupid.
Well, anyways, with our final thoughts out of the way, now where can people find you, Cole?
Yeah, about to say, where's your structure, Andre? This is how fucking retired you are from YouTube, I can't even figure out a final closing thought.
I haven't, it's been a while, okay? Shut up.
Yeah, I actually drug you out to do a video, and this is how you treat me. Unbelievable. All right, so...
I'm out of practice, all right?
All right, fair enough, I guess. My check is in the mail. All right, here we go. So if you want to follow me, if you actually tolerated my voice for a solid 2 hours, you can follow me on Gingiboi. It's a channel where I talk about games, and I promise another video will come out soon. I'm going to do a video on a mobile game called Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, because that stupid game has consumed my life for a year and a half at this point, and I need to talk about it. So don't worry, that'll be a video that comes out. You can follow me.
When are you gonna review Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII, Cole?
You know, I don't know if I can put myself through that again. That game is, don't even get me started. This is a Dragon Ball video, not a Final Fantasy video.
This is what are you talking about? Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. This is the Dragon Ball Daima of the Final Fantasy VII universe.
No. Dirge of Cerberus is somehow lower than Super Dragon Ball Heroes. This is no. This is like the live action South Korean Dragon Ball movie.
It's the end of Z. It's the latest in the timeline.
No. This is the live action Taiwanese Dragon Ball shit or something. Like it is that. Like we're going real far. No, not even that. It's the Harmony Gold of OG Dragon Ball. That's what it is. Yeah, we're gonna get Whiskers the Wonder Cat or something. We're gonna have that. Yeah, we're gonna have that. But yeah, that's what I'm mostly doing now. You can also still see me through Goji's channel. I still edit videos for that schmuck every now and then, so you can see me there. And I guess if you want to still follow me on social media, there's still a Godzilla Gamer 77, my old username. You can still find me on Instagram and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Andres. I finally found a way to sneak my way into your little channel here. So next thing is to figure out how I can get into monstrosities again and then ruin Matt's day or something. So
oh, trust me,
I did that last stream. Hey, I did that for the last stream where I showed up and you just went, "Oh, hi, Cole." Like you were mad at me, bro. You were like, "Oh, this guy."
Oh no, this guy's gonna want to harass me more about doing Dragon Ball Daima. Watch, the Black Frieza saga is gonna happen in the manga. You're gonna be like, "Have you read the manga yet? Can we do the video about the Dragon Balls?"
Hey man, I'll say this now. If you want to do a super manga video, I am so down to do that. I am so down to talk about that.
Honestly, that's very tempting.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm genuinely considering this, folks.
I'm telling you. For one, not many videos are about the super manga in its entirety that I know
true.
Of. And two, I can finally talk about the super manga with someone. Because I swear to God, I'm like the one person who reads this shit. I swear to God.
All right. You know what? We may do this, so tune in for that in like a million years when I upload another video, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's okay, folks. I will text this man once a month if he's read the super manga. Don't worry, it will happen.
But until then, you can follow me here on this channel at Kaiju Noir. You can follow me on Instagram under Kaiju Noir. Follow me on Twitter at PW_Draco Azul. And you can follow me on Facebook at Primal Warrior Draco Azul. You can find me selling my books, my novels. In fact, I have an upcoming novel that I wrote with my wonderful friend Laura Fitkin called Primal Warrior Draco Azul Death's Gate. Look forward to that being released digitally and physically over on Amazon, as well as a new upcoming Draco Azul webcomic that is basically a big tribute / love letter to my time living in the countryside of Japan called Draco Azul Gaiden Hellfire. Recently I mentioned my friend Patrick Miura. He is the artist behind Draco Azul Gaiden. Big shout out to him. Follow him over on Instagram under @DuckArtisan. Check out his work as well. So yeah, I got a lot of Draco Azul stuff cooking in the workshop. Look forward to all of that and more. And so until next time, everybody, I have been Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir.
And I'm Gingiboi. I guess you stopped, so
Sorry, this is just a thing that I do that I never prepare any of my guests on.
You fucking asshole.
And until next time, everybody, take care.
I'm not reading his books. He's a fraud.
I'm Andres Perez, and I hate robots.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.